Captain, look at this.
A high school. 21st century high school.
We are not alone.
Could it be time travel?
I don't know. Excuse me. Where are we?
What are you, high? Possibly. That's what I'm trying to find out.
God, very nice.
Hello and welcome. I'm Anti-Derivative Jill, and this is Indefinite Lunch in Infinite Combinations number 17. Today I'm joined with Pop Culture Curator to review the Orville Season 3, Episode 3, Mortality Paradox. Thank you for joining me today, Pop Culture.
Thank you, Jill. Definitely, once again, I'm very honored. I appreciate it. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all again.
The honor's all mine. You really helped make this show something special, and I believe I really like having you tear into the episode early, if that is what you want to.
Well, I don't want it to seem like I'm tearing. It's just that
No,
I think
it's okay.
I seem to have a singular opinion.
No, there are more people out there than you know. We even have one in the chat today. Hungry Boy, I think, might agree with you. So
Hungry Boy.
So if you ever need to do that, you are welcome. You just improved this show so much. I just want to remind everyone, if they're not subscribed to Pop Culture Curator, to subscribe to him. Can you tell me a bit about your channel and what you have going this week before we get started?
I haven't had a lot. I had somebody ask me about my Ray Bradbury theater stream last night, so I'm having that today after your stream.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that, because a little bit of culture infused on YouTube is very much appreciated.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, Jill. Thanks.
You're welcome. And hello in the chat to Dalek, Hungry Boy, and Raymond Feliciano are all in the chat today, so that's great to see.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you all. And once again, everybody, anybody who comes in, you're welcome to join the panel if you'd like.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We have several slots available if anybody would like to join us.
We're always open to more opinions, yes.
The more the better. We have reviewed every episode of the Orville, and we're finally reviewing Season 3. We're on Episode 3, Mortality Paradox. And before we begin, I'll show a countdown before the spoilers begin, so people who still need to watch the show can pause and watch the replay. I believe Season 4 will happen if we give our support to Season 3. So if you are enjoying the show, subscribe to Hulu and watch. But depending on where you live, you may need to subscribe to Disney Plus. So just be sure to unsub after the Orville is finished. And other great channels are producing content for the Orville, so please go check out Orville Nation with PJ, Talking the Orville with JP, The Nerd Portal Lifeform, Resolute Germ, Clobberin Times, Mark D with the C, Potato Revan, and now even Dave Cullen has switched his attention to the Orville because he's not liking the fake Star Trek out there. So
yeah, I saw his current review. I'm surprised he held out as long as he did, but he finally saw the light.
He was trying his hardest to like it. I give him props for trying to be optimistic there, but he just didn't. He finally realized what he was looking at.
Yep.
And And I know I didn't mention half the channels, but they definitely, the more attention, the better. So without spoiling it, I can say that I note and respect the objections to this episode, but I still love it myself despite them. And I have to be true to myself to say that I saw both a mixture of the Twilight Zone, the original series, and the Stargate, specifically the Stargate SG-1 episode, Thor's Chariot. But for those who don't, we will get those opinions.
Well, I know I
today.
watched. I also saw a review from. I don't know if you ever watched the channel, The Nitpicking Nerd, but he's
Oh,
really
yes.
good at reviewing, and he was mentioning that it's very very similar to a couple of Next Generation episodes as well. I mean, scene for
Oh,
scene, shot
yes.
for shot.
Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. There are lots
Right.
of instances in TNG, because the reason I didn't mention TNG is an offshoot from the original series, and they take a lot of those same ideas of having these near godlike aliens who study the Enterprise and study the creatures, study humans as if they're creatures. So you're right. So what are your general feelings about this episode without spoilers, Pop Culture Curator?
About spoilers.
We'll get to the spoilers in a minute.
Trigger warning, everyone. Trigger warning. I wanted to say that first.
Trigger warning.
I can, putting it lightly, this is my least favorite out of the entire series.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So let's get to the review. This episode first aired on June 15th, 2022, or June 16th, 2022, depending on where you live. It was written by Cherry Chev Pravat. Do I'm wrong. Who knows if I'm pronouncing that correctly? Just Cherry.
You call her Cherry.
Yeah, Cherry. It was directed by John Kasar with music done by Joel McNeely. And whatever you think of the episode, I really like the music. So let's so for those who would like to avoid spoilers, please pause the video, add to your watch later so you can listen on the replay. Here's your spoiler warning for Mortality Paradox. And today we have Hungry Boy, who is in the chat here. Let's see what is going on with my comments. Here we go. So we have Raymond Feliciano listening at work. We have Hungry Boy. Can you see me? I'll go beast. I am helping Jill. You can't stop me. I'll go, what's it? Thank you, Hungry Boy. And he likes the opening. Hello to Dalek. And you're welcome anytime. Thank you for posting my link too. But here's also the link for King Dolphin TV and Dalek 451. And oh, hello, welcome Dalek. It's awesome to see you.
Hi, Jill.
Hey.
Hello, Dalek. Hope you're doing well.
Nice rollout on the support of other channels. Well done. Thank you, Hungry Boy. Hungry Boy also says, I'm going to apologize in advance for my grrr comments about this episode. Grrr. Law, but I dig that you like it. Respect.
Yeah, totally.
Yes, I wish you could join too, Raymond, but you're at work. That's important. It's important to get that money.
Right. One of these days, Raymond, one of these days we'll get you up here.
Mm-hmm. Hungry Boy says, well, today Hungry Boy's name is Hungry but Not Like a Hippo. And he says, before we get into it, the writer's name is pronounced Cheva Prava Dumb Wrong. Okay, according to the Family Guy Rookie. So that's wrong. Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that lady with the really long name who's been...
I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. I'll just give up. I totally give up on, even with the pronunciation. Mm-hmm.
Maybe she'll eventually marry somebody named Jones or something, huh?
So Yeah, maybe. Oh, but these days they do hyphenation, so it's going to be
They
that.
do, right.
Joan.
It'll probably be somebody else with another like 6-syllable name.
So normally I go scene by scene, and I will do that here today. But it's very difficult to talk about this episode without the bigger context of the end of the episode. So if you're watching this for spoilers, you already know that this whole episode was orchestrated by these aliens that we met back in that fantastic episode, Mad Idolatry, where Kelly is distraught when a simple act of kindness, a little bit of stupidity, leads her to becoming the prophet for a major religion on this planet. And this planet is multiphasic, so when it phases back to its other universe, 11 days will pass for the Orville, but 7 years have passed in their multiphasic
Was it
universe.
700 years, wasn't it?
700 years. Is that what I said? Did I say days?
You said
Okay.
You said 7 years.
Seven. Okay. So
Yeah,
I
this
think it's
planet.
700.
yeah. You just said 7 years. You didn't say 700 years.
So when it phases back to the other universe, 11 days will pass for the Orville's universe, but 700 years will have passed in their universe. Each time it phases back into the Orville's universe, it has advanced rapidly, not only through time, but also social and technological development. In this episode, these aliens return, only they've continued to advance so much that now 50,000 years have passed for them. And they have advanced further. But how much have they advanced, really? The reason why I love this episode is because I misread the title. I read Morality Paradox rather than Mortality Paradox. So
that's what I thought it said. That's what I thought it said at first.
and that really makes sense when you get to the end, because they treat the Orville crew as rats in a maze. And the episode makes it clear that the crew is being used that way. So what transpired was wholly within the realm of possibility for me. But let's see what happens here. And whether you like the episode or not, it was nice that it gives us that reference point to figure out the timeline. Though it may just be rounded off, if 50,000 years have passed since Mad Idolatry, we can determine how much time has passed since the episode. So
it sounds like you're saying mad at Dollar Tree.
Oh, sorry, Mad Idolatry.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. I've seen enough videos where people are mad at Dollar Tree on YouTube.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
There's a store called Dollar Tree, and people go in there and they rant and rave, and they have videos on YouTube where they tear the place apart.
Wait a second. Why would people be mad at Dollar Tree?
Well, the same way they're mad at Waffle House, the same way they're mad at McDonald's, the usual.
Okay. No, I really.
Which means no reason, right? They just,
I didn't realize people make video content on that. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
50,000 divided by 700. I might have just had too much coffee today. 50,000 divided by 700 represents the number of multiphasic cycles, which comes out to about 71.43. So multiply that by 11 to get 785.71, or about 2.15 years, not accounting for the approximately 35 days that it spent in phase with the Orville universe. This is from Mad Idolatry. We know that they spend about 12 hours in phase with our universe. So I just multiplied 12 by 71.43 to get that 35 days.
Right. And when they shot that, though, was that during the lockdowns, or they didn't know about the delay, did they? So it's kind of in reality longer.
I don't know how reality factors into it.
Right, we don't know how time passed on the Orville. They haven't really explained that, right?
But that's what this is. That's what this does for us.
Yeah.
So that 35 days in which the planet was phased in with the Orville universe ever since that episode. So without factoring the 35 days in, it's about 2 years and 54 days since Mad Idolatry. Factoring in the 35 days gives us 2 years and 89 days having passed in the Orville universe. Given that they have such little time in our universe, it's clear that this experiment they're conducting on the crew either only took 12 hours to complete, or they're such masters of the universe that time means nothing to them, which is probably more likely the case.
Hello, Gorilla.
We never-
Welcome.
Oh, and hello in the chat to Gorilla's Random Thoughts. And so,
Hopefully your ass isn't too sore, Gorilla. Sorry to hear that.
what? Okay, let's see what's going on in the chat. You and me in the bunker, Pop. So, she likes to be called Cherry Sheba to make it easier for her friends. So you can just use that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't know much about her. So, Sheba, am I saying Sheba right? Okay, so, and that 10,000s of years compared to us was ripped off from an episode of a 1960s Outer Limits. Grr. Okay, see, I liked that. So I didn't really, well, possibly it's ripped off, but mathematically it works out. So there's that. But maybe they just made it that way. I don't know. What I missed, didn't hear notifications. Oh, okay, you didn't hear. Okay, that's what Gorilla said. Oh, hello. Okay, Gorilla's Random Thoughts was thrown off because I started off more or less on time. All right. Additionally, I hear some people say this episode reminds them of Come Along Home from Deep Space Nine, and I could see that, but I see it, more as the games in Thor's Chariot from SG-1, where the more advanced race was testing the lesser race. But instead of testing, this is experimentation. Anyway, I do see the parallels for both episodes, though. Further, my dear friend Hungry Boy, who is here in the chat, compares this episode to Freddy Krueger as well, which makes some sense to me. It is these Q-like aliens who are creating these nightmare scenarios for the crew, so that follows that they would just get so many details wrong in their combination of ignorance and arrogance as they misinterpret data collected from the Orville's database in the crew's minds. So these aliens give us those events that unfold, creating these little pocket universes for each character. And yes, parts of this show definitely looks like fantasy. But I believe that's because these aliens are using this kind of technology that we just can't understand. So I still do love this episode, but I fully
didn't they say
understand.
at the end that it was basically holograms, right?
Well,
Wasn't
see, that's
weren't
what's
they using a hologram
confusing about
projector?
it, but we'll definitely get into it. See,
I know on some
they
reviews
spend-
they were comparing her race to the Q, but the Q didn't have to use mechanical means.
Mhm.
I'd say it's more like Trelane, if anything.
Yes, I think that the species is godlike or pre-godlike, but not quite, because they're heavily using technology.
Right, they're using
Instead
machines,
of-
right?
They're using, rather than just pure,
Snap of a
energy
finger, like
or yeah, right. They're not evolved to where they're just energy or magic. They have
Q
something.
Right, that's why Q was never one of my favorites. I didn't like the magic aspect.
Mhm.
It's just too far fetched. But I can understand a lot of people like Q.
I do. I like Q too. So that
I know.
could be another delineation. Who loves
Have you ever
Q
watched the
versus people who
Flintstones?
don't?
Have you ever watched the Flintstones?
I don't
the
think.
old cartoon
Yes,
show?
I don't think that Q is like that guy.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yes, I forget his name though. But I know who you're talking about, that little alien that
The
follows
little
Fred
Martian
around.
would snap his finger. That was he
Yeah.
would come in.
Okay.
Well, because of the ratings sagged, and they brought the little Martian in, and he would snap his fingers just to liven things up, pretty much, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
Kazoo.
Kazoo, there you go.
Right.
But I definitely get it. But anyway, godlike species show up lots of times in Star Trek that we don't understand. Nobody really understands how the Guardian Forever works or anything like that. So these kind of species that we can't really explain often happen.
Yeah, the Guardian of Forever just simply exists.
Give them time; they'll go back and explain it. I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, at some point, I should get to the episode though. So
yeah, because how long did you spend talking about the inner?
So yeah, right. But I was very interested in it, so I had to.
Like calculating how much time had passed for the people on that planet, but had been people on the Orville.
Well, it's kind of unclear how much time has passed since that last season to ours, so that actually helped with giving us an approximate timeline for the show.
That in itself is an inconsistency.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to give any pretense in this review since you've all seen it. I guess maybe unless I'm confused too.
I mean, yeah.
No, go ahead, Jill. Go ahead.
I mean, obviously, I've seen the episode. In fact, and I've also already, talked about it. I've already reviewed it with Potato Revan last week.
Well, at the beginning of this stream, Jill and I both said what we thought about it. What did you think in general? A quick summary. ILIC.
Okay. Sorry.
Or not. It's not necessary.
So someone we are led. Okay, so here, let's get the review started. So we get a lovely little shot of the shuttle here. And someone we believe to be Tala, but who's actually the alien, arrives aboard the Orville. One major flaw here is the ease and nonchalance that Tala has with panning her father as an alcoholic. However, it's much easier.
Yeah, any opportunity to jab at a man, sure, why not?
However, it's much easier to handle this dismissiveness for her family life when we find out this isn't really even her. So I don't have to worry about this part. And in addition to this, the main plot driver here is that while on vacation, this Tala imposter claims she found a Kalon signature by the Avior system, which on initial viewing is the point in which it's trying to lead the audience to believe that the threat will be Kalons in this episode, which actually worked on me. So then fake Tala has bringing some dense chocolate treats from Zalea, which they also simulated somehow.
And yeah, candy was a plot point that didn't go anywhere. I'm not really sure why they introduced it, but okay.
Well, sometimes the Orville likes to infuse real life kind of interactions between.
I can understand that. I can understand if it was a real Tala. I don't understand why an advanced alien species would come on, insult a man randomly, and then hand out chocolate.
That's exactly what she does.
Sorry.
If you boil down the review that
right. Remember, this is supposed to be an ultra intelligent species, and I'm going to keep reminding everybody of that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead, Jill. Sorry.
Ultra intelligence doesn't mean that they can't be
hungry. Hungry just took the words right out of my mouth. I haven't gotten there, Hungry. Please save that to the end.
Smug, snarky, self-important dialogue from an all-knowing female character. Did we need more evidence that the script was spawned by bad CW ripoffs of Buffy? Oh, I've never seen Buffy.
Hail, yes.
Oh, come on.
Go ahead, Dalek. What did you have to say?
It's funny you should mention Buffy. I was actually watching some of both that and Angel just yesterday.
Do you disagree or agree with Hungry?
I would kind of disagree with this because if this was a ripoff of Buffy, she'd have been a lot of something from that. It would have been a lot more. She'd have been a lot more snarky than she was.
I don't think he means the whole episode is ripped off from Buffy.
Okay.
I think he means just this one aspect was character-like, possibly. But I'm just guessing.
I mean, we don't see this character until almost near the end, right?
Yeah, I think that just
But
because these creatures are advanced, it doesn't mean
I
they
mean,
can't.
as far as I'm concerned, there's a lot worse stuff in this episode than that carrot than this.
Oh yeah, I won't argue
alien
that.
woman carrot. There's a lot worse.
Yeah. Yeah, just because they're advanced, I don't think that they can. They're not perfect by any means. They think they are, which is the problem.
No, but according to them, they've achieved perfection. So
They
yeah,
think,
there
yes,
you go.
Exactly.
There's a big plot hole you could drive the Orville through, right?
Well, I don't think that's a plot hole. I think that's just the nature of what happens when someone advances so much that they think
Usually
they're
self-arrogance.
Yeah,
people are arrogant don't last. Yeah, they don't usually last.
But maybe it took so long to become arrogant that only now they realize they're beginning to atrophy in that, but they don't quite get how bad it's gotten.
Possibly.
Q used machines, just switches, as his fingers.
Oh, that explains the clicking sound I heard when he snapped his fingers. Click, click, and a few whirring noises.
Hungry Boy says this is my favorite Martian episode.
No. These what are they called again? These people. They're not
the alien race. Have they given the alien race a name?
They haven't. I just call them multiphasic aliens.
I'll call them E-trans for now.
Like they're super advanced. They're immortal, but they're not they can basically bend and reshape reality, but they're not the Q.
They're not quite the Q, but they're the closest analogy that we have that they're approaching Q-ness. And R.N. Feliciano also thought it was a meld of the menagerie and shore leave. Yes, I agree completely. That makes sense. The cage and shore leave.
It would just be nice if for once if we were sitting here talking about, oh, I can see where they got hints from this book or from that book. But it's like the writers, it's like somebody had come up with an idea. They said, well, I saw this one scene in this one show that was cool. Okay, put it down. And I saw this other scene in another show that was cool. Okay, put it down. Oh, and this other scene in another show. Well, what show was that from? I don't know. Well, doesn't matter. Put it down. So it's like a jumbled mess of a bunch of ideas from other shows they ripped off. And just, like put in a bingo basket and, spun around and just spit out randomly. Then they had a script. But I digress. Go ahead, Jill.
So the thing is about the Telosians is that they were a much better written alien species because they came in arrogant, but then they found out that humans don't want to be caged. They don't want to be in that false illusion. And so even though it meant the end of their species, they let them go, except for the one that, of course, didn't want to leave because she wanted to stay in the illusion. And so the Telosians had a growth that we haven't seen yet in this species, and I want to see that. That is why I like this episode, because I see the potential for this race to realize their arrogance, realize they're not the perfection that they put off at the end, and that they can grow too. And so the Orville may be the ones who help them see that reality. I might be giving away my end there, though. So here we go. I have this also. This
Buffy, you can respect. Okay, fair enough.
I am detecting narrowband electromagnetic emissions from the surface of Naran 1, 13.4 light years from our present position.
So
Isaac could have been sorely used on this landing party.
Yeah, I know,
just like
right?
last week. Yeah, just like last week.
Well, he would have cleared up the illusions too quickly if he had gone on this landing party. He'd been like, "What the heck are you guys all seeing? I just see a desert. What's the matter with you guys running around?"
Oh, and by the way, Jill, thank you for showing that clip of behind the scenes.
Yes.
Before this started, because that now at first I was confused why an upcoming scene looked as bad as it did, but now I know why. Because now that I've seen the behind the scenes, I was right. That's exactly what I figured it was. They were using blue and not green screen.
So should they have been using green?
Yeah, there's a big difference. That's why the desert scenes look so bad in this episode. And also when they're at the end, or is it the beginning or both, where they're sitting in the lounge and it shows the star field behind them. You can see the clear outline around them, like it's using old-fashioned blue screen. And I was watching the episode, I was like, well, the special effects are like going back like 50 years. Where's the green screen? That is blue screen, not green screen. You can tell. That's the reason why green screen was invented. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry, that's something off topic.
Is that really such a big deal?
It's noticeable. I'll put it that way.
It was noticeable to many people, although it was not noticeable to me because.
Yeah, thank God that
was
not only me. Yeah, that was one thing that other people did notice too, was how bad the desert scene looked.
I should watch these episodes more than once.
But I really do appreciate that the creators of the Orville give out the behind the scenes like that so freely on Twitter. That is something very nice that they do.
Yeah,
and they don't mind us playing it either. But that's a good point. Thank you for sharing.
Well, the people behind this, well, that just shows the people behind this show are decent people.
They are. They do care about the fans. Both Kelly and Charlie know that it's actually a barren world. So I guess for some reason, this planet is already famous for some reason because it's in the common knowledge. They believe Isaac must be in error because he sees those emissions.
And Raymond, you are right. Bortus is different. His makeup has changed. I need to do a side-by-side study, but he is definitely different. I've noticed every time I've seen him now in this new season.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on.
Why is this? That's good. Why is this planet so well known? If it's just an out of a backwater literal dirt ball and nothing else.
I don't know. That's something that I hope might be revealed someday.
That's called plot hole. Somebody's talking.
Oh, not a rip off of Buffy itself, but
someone was you had someone talking a woman's voice.
Oh, it's as if CW did Buffy.
Sorry, I think that that might have been my mom. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's
no problem.
Absolutely
It's
fine.
okay.
Yeah, no problem. Life happens.
I've got dogs here that are always making noise, so yeah, it's absolutely fine.
Pop and I sitting in the tree. Says Hungry Boy. If Isaac was in the landing party, the episode would be 3 minutes long. Yes, that's true. That's a good point. Raymond Feliciano says, is it me or does Bortus look different? And yes, Pop Culture agrees with you. I would love to see you do a video on that, Pop Culture.
Well, there's not enough to justify a video. All it would take is a still photo side by side.
Okay, then Twitter post. Hungry Boy says, Dalek 451 and I are old DW fans. We can forgive crap blue screen.
What is DW?
I think he means Doctor Who.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Hello in the chat to Resolute Germ.
Well, if you watch the Doctor Who on video, I'm sure you really notice the blue screen effects then. It was definitely more pronounced on video than it was on film.
I'm sure it brought up.
Hello, Resolute.
So everyone on the go ahead.
But that's part of the charm of old Doctor Who, the not so great special effects and light flash stuff.
Oh no, I'm not knocking that. It's the same with Star Trek. When the TOS people start knocking the look, and I tell them that's the way it was at the time. That's part of the charm. If it was bad, we wouldn't be talking about it right now, right? So I'm not knocking the look of it. I'm just explaining why it looked the way it did back then.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's about story, less about the visuals, even though I do love the visuals of this show. But since they're at such a high standard, people notice when they go a little step below.
Yeah, and I'm kind of a fanatic when it comes to makeup or special effects. So I unfortunately, sorry about that.
That's okay. And hello in the chat to Doc Valiant, who says, Mom, where's the meatloaf?
Sorry, Doc Valiant. No meatloaf tonight. We're having fish.
Uh-oh. So Isaac says that it's not possible for him to be incorrect. But he hasn't considered that technology beyond him might be in play.
Oh, by the way, Jill, their guns are called blasters. Have we talked about that?
Blasters. They're called
Yeah,
blasters.
I
No, we
saw
haven't. I didn't
saw
know
a
what they're
post
called.
that Tom Constantino, whatever his name is.
Mhm.
I just saw a tweet this morning where he was talking about those prizes that he was giving out, and
Okay.
he had a phaser sitting next to one of their guns, and it said blasters. So that must be what they're called, I'm guessing.
Great, thank you. Yeah, they never say it on the show, but if Tom says it, then that must be it.
Possibly so, right?
Dalek, you want worse than bad blue screen, base of evil. We're forgiving of bad effects, just not garbage scripting.
Exactly.
What is face of evil? Sorry, guys. What's face of evil?
Face of Evil is a classic Doctor Who story. I think it's from Tom Baker's era.
Okay, I guess it had bad blue screen.
So the multiphasic aliens are so advanced. They're so advanced that the Orville can't detect reality from fiction, which makes it so that either these aliens could become an enormous threat or ally if they ever decide to stop playing with humanity and help it instead. So we don't know what's going to happen with these aliens in the future. And then we have
Such intense and modulated signals can only be produced by the collective energy output of a substantial population of life forms.
So Captain Mercer decides to check it out. Even Lamar in engineering cannot tell that the 25th century city they see below is a fabrication, even though the crew is questioning it, given the vast information they know about the planet's history. The planet's 8.5 billion population won't answer any hells.
And again, how does the whole crew know about this nothing planet, which nobody would be interested in?
Yeah, exactly. So we don't know.
Well, not only that, but with all the sensors not matching reality, all the red flags should be going up and the warning signs, right? But they're very casual about it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and
I would
so
have said down Isaac and Isaac alone, then oh well.
Yeah, that might have been smart.
Yeah, send him off in the Velociraptor, or whatever that new ship is called.
Yeah, he would have been like, "It's a desert down here." What? Wow.
Nothing to see here. Later, the end. No.
Dun, 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 dun. Play the theme music.
Right, the end credits.
The planet's 8.5 billion population won't answer any hells, so they decide to check it out by shuttlecraft, leaving Lamar with the con. So they're here, and all they see is dense forests. They see a dense
what do you know,
forest.
everybody? We get a cameo of the Sierra Mountains and the LA woods. What do you know? Isn't that refreshing for a change, huh?
Yeah, the Sierra Mountains. Well, I'm so happy that you're on my show because you get to point out all of these Californian landmarks that I don't know much about.
Yeah, this here was filmed up in the LA mountains around the same area they filmed the series MASH up by the Warner Ranch. You know.
I wouldn't have known that.
Oh, well, hopefully there's a clip here that's really important that I noticed. I hope Jill gets it. If not, I'll point it out. Go ahead, Jill.
Yes, please do, because I probably don't.
Yeah, I know exactly where they are. I was there just a couple months ago.
So in hindsight, we know this is the beginning of a rat maze, and Lamar confirms that the Orville is seeing the forest now too. And at the beginning of this rat maze is a place even scarier than the Arachnids' alien space station from Shadow Realms. It's a high school from the 21st century.
A high school.
I have to say, as soon as I saw this shot, I immediately knew the mentality of the writer, and I knew who and what the writer was all about and how they were projecting themselves into the story. And I can tell you, the writer is very young, not long out of high school. And of course, they have to show our modern day high school, not what these actual people would have seen in the 23rd, 20th, whatever century it is.
No.
Kind of lazy and cheap writing, but anyway, go ahead, Jill.
God, I hated this. God, I hated this.
Why is that, Dalek? Please elaborate.
This whole thing in this stupid in this freaking high school, I absolutely hated it.
Okay.
I was just like, please God, don't let the whole episode be this.
Well, we're talking about CW. Here we go, right? So let's continue. Not older than me.
Tom Baker, mid-70s, look like a dog's breakfast. I'll take your word for it. But every time I talk to someone about Doctor Who, they tell me to start with Tom Baker.
I agreed, absolutely.
Resolute Germ doesn't think the aliens will ever show up again. The Hungry Boy says the crew knowing about the planet is like rich Persians knowing about Slough. What does that mean? Dalek knows. What does that mean? Is that a Doctor Who reference? Oh yeah, it is. Okay. Hungry Boy says this is where I knew this would suck, says Hungry Boy.
Yeah, the red flag start going off right about now.
Nah, Cherry is 45 years old, believe it or not.
Wow, seriously? And this is how far she's advanced in her writing skills. Wow, that's a shock. I am honestly shocked.
And me and
Sad.
Dalek. Hungry Boy says me and Dalek sitting in a tree. Hello in the chat to Zanzoltan. Zanzoltan. Thank you.
Good to see you there.
And this was a great episode, says Zanzoltan.
There you go, Jill. You got somebody on your side.
I know. Now, so my excuse for this is that the aliens scanned Gordon's brain, finding his love from Laura from the 21st century from lasting impressions. We were never told that Gordon deleted the program, so it's possible that this data is still in the ship's simulator.
They showed a high school in that episode?
No, but though she was much older than high school age, she was young enough that she may have referenced it to give aliens a means of constructing it. And of course, also the crew watches a lot of 21st century movies that they may have pulled from also. And
so you don't think it was all because of lack of budget or imagination?
Possibly. Those are also possibilities.
Yeah.
I will concede that.
It's like, well, let's just shoot this around LA and get it over with. But okay.
Potentially.
Even the casting, straight out of UCLA, without exception. It's like they have casting calls. They just stand out in the middle of UCLA saying, anybody want to be on the Orville?
Yes. Elder Gen Y, but Cherry is still considered Gen Y. Resolute Germ, I don't have a real problem with the high school because it fits Gordon. That's exactly what I think too.
What about the other characters? Did it fit Bortus?
But it doesn't fit. It doesn't have to fit Bortus.
But it was so ridiculous watching Gordon get beat up by actual school bullies.
Wait. By who? Describe the bullies. They were all white, and they were led by a red-haired white guy. Because remember, this is a hate white men show. And then let's talk about
what's the race got to do with it? Shut up.
Yeah, I don't really think the race has anything to do with it, but it's okay.
Well, thank you for letting me finish, but okay, I'm going to mute. Thanks.
No, that's okay. I'm sorry. I understand your point that they could have had some diversity there. I don't.
Who cares about that?
Right. I didn't notice it either. I don't have a real problem with the high school because if it's Gordon.
I'm sorry, but I'm just so fucking sick of this race and diversity argument. Sick of it. Yeah.
Later, Jill. I'll see you guys later.
Wait, no.
Sorry.
Oh no, I didn't want to lose. I didn't want to lose you. I didn't want to lose pop culture. Shoot. I needed him. Hold on just a moment.
Oh my God, that was my fault. I'm so sorry, Jill. Pop culture, please come back. I'm sorry.
Okay. In that event, we'll continue here. I was enjoying the conversations here. The bullies were created by a species so advanced that they supersede physicality, but they know how to make bullies. Hungry Boy believes that is not logical. And I believe that the aliens were so advanced that they just completely mixed up Gordon's real timeline with the woman he loved, and we got this nightmare. There's no proof of this, so you're justified in not believing it. But to me, the aliens are so arrogant in that advancement that I believe that they're capable of heavy errors, and they do make errors in this episode. So I know, right? Come back, Pop Pop. Please do. I miss him already. And I love having you here too, Dalek. My son is fair-haired.
This is my fault.
Yeah. And he gets sick of anyone that looks like us. And gets sick of anyone that looks like us being the villain. And that's another point for pop culture for sure. So there are people that believe you are making a fair point, pop culture. So I hope you consider coming back. Hail in the chat too, Alexander. And so also a great point, Joe. I see that, Ingle. Thank you. Yes, drama. It's getting good, says Doc Valiant. Can I enter the stream? Just asking. I don't want to bother anyone. Yes, please feel free to enter the stream.
I mean, how can I not feel bad about it, Resident Germ?
Okay, so anyway, I didn't want. I really crap.
Hang on, is that pop culture? Is he back?
No, it's me. Sorry. I just came when he left, so I have no idea what happened exactly.
Well, he was making the point that the bullies just happened to be all of one race, and and he's tired of seeing that particular race just being the villain all of the time.
And technically, if you think about it for a little bit, it's like when you see the entire kind of context inside the entire world of that was created, was just trying to be portrayed as a normal school, and bullies can be in any kind of shape or form. So
exactly, they were just generic bullies.
They were
That's what they were.
And honestly, they could be like black, whatever. It was the same. The perception of that moment was actually for, as you see at the end of the episode. I don't know if we can spoil it or not. Can we spoil it or not? I don't want to intrude.
Yes, we're spoiling the heck out of this episode.
Okay, so then if you see they say like in the ending that all references that came as they were all just trying to point out that there was like your ideas of complications on your own world if you were living, and probably since it was taken as a first kind of contingency as showing that kind of fear at the beginning, they probably just like as we all seen, you should pay. I can remember the name of what's the name, Randy, perhaps. I can remember the name of the biggest bully that was actually a monster. So we're like, okay, how come nobody actually said like, okay, that's a monster, that's not a kid in the 21st century? So that's the biggest thing that you can just take from that. The living being that actually surpassed our humanity and everything decided just to put not a single bully, but put a monster with that axe that makes no sense in that world, but into any person will bring fear. Will bring that point of saying, how is it called? Fight or flight kind of sentiment. I can't remember how it's called. But that is what she was trying to do. She was trying to, as you see at the end of the chat, the entire episode, she says like, we wanted to see how's it feel for seeing certain death, and actually what will you do, because we lost all of because since we're mortal, we lost all that kind of contact about that moment when you see
Yes,
death
exactly.
into your eyes. So
Hmm.
you kind of understand that at the
That is the
beginning.
ending. That is the ending for sure. Yes.
Yes, and as you see it at the beginning, when you see the bullies actually attacking him, they're like they were probably like at the beginning trying with the bullies to push that kind of death kind of consequential, but since he wasn't feeling it, they probably said like, you owe money to Rand. I can't remember the name.
Hmm.
Randy was
Randall, yes, Randall,
Randall. There
absolutely,
we go.
yes.
And
Okay,
they say like that just to
okay,
point more pressure into into
yes,
Gordon to
exactly.
actually get that fly or fight kind of style, because all the other kids will say like, you should pay Randall. Why? You should pay him. They never say
Yeah,
like
right.
it's a 720 feet monster. That was a surprise to actually get into a point of seeing I'm about to die, and I don't even know why. Because for example, one thing that they could actually been done that they never did is like, what kind of money do you use here? Because this is 21st century, you should have like dollars or what, because that's a normal kind of that's why I thought for a moment when I was seeing that episode, like, why they never asked what kind of currency they're using right now? Because I would be like, if I have to pay someone, I should at least try to get some currency from here, perhaps break a machine. I don't know,
That's true.
something.
They don't try to get any money. That's a good point.
So I was
So,
like, okay, perhaps they're trying to point that the fact that since they don't know what is the actual like danger inside it, they're trying to say, as they say, this is probably simulation. Yes, but they're actual like Gordon hits and everything. That is not a simulation. That's not illusionary. Like it happened. He got
mhm,
punched. He got
yes,
hurt by someplace. So they say like,
yes, it
okay,
has
this is
real
not.
effects.
So they say like, okay, this is not an illusion. Something is happening right here, right now. And I love it as you keep on seeing the episode. They say like they grab your biggest fear and they push that fight or flight kind of thing.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter because, for example, in the Bortus scene, Bortus actually
Oh wait, wait.
tries
Okay,
to.
let's not
Uh,
get to the border scene.
okay, okay, okay,
I'm going in a bit of an order here.
okay, okay.
So, Doc Valiant in the chat says blonde hair and blue eyes is a world minority. So he's agreeing with you, pop culture, that the media does this because it's psychological warfare. So I do hope you join us back in the panel here. I laughed hard at your shock at Cherry Bomb being 45 pop culture curator. I feel the pain. So Doc Valiant says all gingers have been removed from the media. Okay, yes, that's true. There has been a recasting of gingers.
It
And
depends. For example, if you see some kind of show, some kind of things that actually are keeping the fans happy. Right now, I'm actually that's the funniest part because I'm actually playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's a red-haired villain that is actually exists that is from the original cartoons, and they still keep on like if they love the fans, they will keep on showing them as they are. But
mhm,
I do
right.
understand that it's
Yeah,
kind of
some franchises do care more about their fans for sure.
yeah. That's the thing. If they care about the fans, they will probably keep on, as the original they was created. But if they don't, they're probably gonna change everything because they want to push something. I kind of understand what pop culture say because it happens a lot. And I'm a white to blue eye kind of guy, and I don't care if they portray like bad people because bad people can come from anywhere. But
I
it's
don't
funny
either, but
because
I don't either, but I absolutely
yeah, I
want
understand.
different perspectives on my channel and to give them a voice to be able to
Mhm.
uh, finish their thoughts and express how they feel.
Yeah, of course.
And Hungry Boy says, I'm cracking a 4 a.m. beer for your pop.
As it should be. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear the tickly
And
tackly, but I'm
Pop
actually I'm
Culture
actually
says,
playing multiplayer, so I'm just gonna cut it off.
okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
No.
I
So
am,
because they feel this. So
that's okay. Pop Culture Curator says, I'm a Native American, but not that that matters. And right, we care about everyone, regardless of race. So that
mhm.
shouldn't even be a factor in anything. But certain cult circles have made it. So I'm not so good at talking about that. Anyway,
Don't worry. I gotta be completely honest. I'm from Argentina. A lot of people will tell me, like, back in the day, they say like there's only like white people in Argentina. A lot of people will say, then they say like, no, there's kind of, we live in a place that we don't care what color you are, what you do.
Right.
We don't care. It's like,
That's the way
you
it
want
should be. And
yeah,
this
do you
show is
want to grab
supposed
some
to be
pizza, some beer? We can have fun. It should be like that. But you know, Hollywood doesn't like it a lot, that kind of thing, because it feels like they're trying to push some kind of difference between the people and all that.
yeah,
But that's
right. We
just
shouldn't be separating ourselves by this kind of thing. This is and this show should be like Star Trek. This should be
yeah.
transcending that kind of pigeonholing of groups of people when we are all human beings and we're all in this together, and we just need to.
Okay, gotta say
Yes.
something because I remember this on this episode. They actually show something that is funny because to me it was like, okay, I kind of understand it, but somebody will say the same. They say like, if they find you, they will flame you in Instagram and they will pick your flick, and then you'll probably end up in TikTok. And
Yeah,
they,
yeah,
say,
we haven't gotten
and
there
they say
yet.
like, what? What are they talking about? I'll be like a normal person from another time. They will be like the same. Perhaps a lot of people will say, and that's an actual hit to the people nowadays in the Gen Z and everything. And they talk like that, like everyone understand because they say gram instead of Instagram, and they say tics instead of TikTok. So it's kind of a lang. And if you don't have any kind of idea, they will be like, what the hell are you talking about? And that's the funniest part, because in that scene, you can actually see that they're also giving a punch to the new generations that they just talk like that, because you kind of live in that bubble that is like, you understand them, but it's kind of stupid to actually talk like that and say Instagram or TikTok, you know?
Are we going to talk about the episode or not? Because I'm sick. I'm getting tired of this.
We're actually talking about the episode.
Class, let's. Okay, so all right. Wait, what's going on? That's my. Okay, so. All right. Okay, so class lets out, and beings that all read as the beings all read as human beings. Now, this is very reminiscent of Q, who would often bring beings into existence and then snap them away at a whim. And this is exactly how the multiphasic beings are behaving. And so that reminds me a bit of.
I don't need your fantasy women.
God.
So meanwhile, on the Orville, Lamar and Isaac cannot find the crew via scans. So they're scanning and they can't find them. Only the shuttle Isaac cautions that the rescue team could suffer the same fate as the original landing party, which is a fair point. But Charlie very brashly accuses Isaac of not valuing life due to being a Kalon. And even though I really like Lamar's style as captain in terms of stating what he wants to happen and getting it done, all he says is that there's no time to argue, which is all right. But I would have liked it better if we had gotten something a little bit more like...
Leave any bigotry in your quarters. There's no room for it on the bridge.
So there is.
But after that kind of decision, they actually give another decision after, like, I think two more scenes. Sorry, he actually has a very big decision that is great from a captain.
Okay, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, but
So back at the high school, a group of bullies drag Gordon to the bathroom to beat him up. And I think in reality, he'd be able to knock them both out with no problem. But this is a nightmare created by our alien friends or enemies. We don't know what they are. If they can create a force field that Tala cannot break through, it is feasible that they could also create kids who are strong enough to take down Gordon, especially since these so-called high schoolers kind of look like college kids. So the only major downfall of this scene is that I missed the part where Gordon tries to use his weapon as defense. So he doesn't try to take down these aliens with his blaster, as Pop Culture told me it's called, which I still miss you, Pop Culture. Please come back. Also, this scene follows along with the theory that the aliens were looking at Pop Culture in Gordon's mind. because giving money to a bully is a very common.
So ridiculous.
Is a very
Actually, it makes sense if you think about it, because they say like a lot of the first kind of rule that they have is if they encounter, they will not show like to normal people that they are like from another world. But since, as you kind of see before in the episode, they just walk around them and they don't like see, oh, an alien, what the hell? So we like their reaction is different. So you can get the same kind of feeling that they get, that they're not trying to like middle it between their own lives, but when you're getting attacked, he probably should have taken his gun, but I don't know why they didn't do it. Like, yeah, that was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, so they're looking inside Gordon's mind, and what I think is that giving money to a bully is a very common high school trope in movies. So I think this is where the aliens got that notion from. And once again, strong kids and a too strong to break down door for Tala happens again. And Bortus determines that Gordon was harmed by the bullies for real, concluding that they must be in danger from these illusions. In order to try to get... Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, pop culture says something that is funny, but yeah, it's right. They're not going to show 50-year-old man beating up high school kids. That is a reality too. But you kind of think that there were 3 against 1. So once he probably tried to grab his gun, they were like pulling him up, and he was completely at the mercy of the third one. So if you think about it, even if he tried to struggle with everything, they will get like 2-3 punches more, and he will be in the ground eventually. So I kind of understand that in some point he decided to just go with the flow eventually. But yeah, at least some kind of trouble will have been nice. But like I said, this is kind of like a point that I try to make, because when they close the door, not even tell that it's completely stronger than anyone else can open that door. So probably these bullies were over the top of strength and everything to show that point of you're not going to be able to fight at all. Like, not even try to fight, because one punch you hurt a cell and you will not be able to move your arms, not even with all your strength. So it kind of makes sense, because this was what the alien actually wanted to do, show fear, anyway.
Well, they succeeded in that. But I agree with you that since the doors were stronger, then that's how I concluded that the high schoolers were similarly stronger as well. So Hungry Boy says, the misrepresentation of us sci-fi fans must therefore rankle you severely, pop culture. I grok that and get that, man. Yeah. And Hungry Boy says, I refer to them as Tinky Tonky Tardians. I don't know.
To the TikTok ones, the one.
Okay, gotcha. I don't much like TikTok myself.
I never used it.
Hungry Boy says, no curves. Decker unit can keep those doxies to himself. Oh yeah, because of the fantasy women clip. I mean, wasn't Gordon trained for his position, and would that not include military grade self-defense? Yes, but we did try to explain that in that the high schoolers were as strong as the doors, or stronger. So Resolute Germ says he's a wimp, that he'd get beat up no matter what, which is another perspective.
Trying to explain, so you try to explain away bad cringe-inducing writing and screenplay.
Pop, I just tell people to watch or read Lord of the Flies to explain why people should care about tribalism. That's why making any group the bad guy. TV shows are called programs for a reason. Yeah, and making just a whole group, singling out and pigeonholing a whole group and making them a bad guy is definitely not what we want to see. And hopefully that's not even what they were doing in this episode. There's a possibility that it was, and a possibility that it wasn't. We do not know. And I want to give the show the benefit of the doubt that they weren't. But
okay, I have a theory that once you get to the last comment, I have a theory for pop culture.
So, pop culture says they're not going to show a 50-year-old man beating up on high school kids. And that's a fair point, too. And pop culture says Tala's strength was fluctuating depending on a badly written plot. She had strength where the writers needed it. Okay.
There we go. Can I answer that actual?
Sure.
Because that is in Tala actually. She's actually the alien, so she probably locked the door and never even tried to hit it
Oh,
because she was like, "Oh, I need him to actually have fear." So this is
that's a
not
good
talent
point.
technically.
That's a good
So
point. So
she probably
you're
like
saying
said,
she was
"Okay,
just pretending she couldn't
yeah,
open
she's
the
just
door.
pretending to actually to open the door, but she doesn't have the strength or everything at all. Perhaps she has it, but doesn't need it to use it because she wanted fear for the actual, you know,
Mhm.
that's a possibility too. So
But if she's an extra advanced species and this is the universe that she crafted, she could craft the doorway if she wanted to.
yeah,
So
of
that
course,
shows
she could
that she
actually
didn't
like
want
grab
to.
the door and destroy the entire the entire school if she wanted. Like,
And Hungry Boy says it kind of makes sense, yes. But that's that again, Freddy Krueger stuff, which is okay if Cherry understood Freddy stuff, which Hungry Boy believes she does not.
Jill,
Yes? Yes, Dalek?
I'm gonna have to drop out now.
Okay, thank you so much for joining me. As long as you
And
could.
yeah, and again, I am very sorry for
Oh, that's yes, I understand it. You do get excited and
don't worry,
you're
man. We're all in the beginning.
you want to express your opinion just like everybody else, but sometimes the back and forth gets heated, and in some
yeah.
ways that's good, but in other ways it kind of I don't know, it blew up a little bit.
I mean, I'm gonna be
But it
completely honest. Don't
but
worry.
don't worry about it.
This can happen, and we'll probably. And I hope the pop culture actually thinks the same. But they will probably like talk eventually, and they're just gonna, make peace to it to everyone.
Yes, absolutely. Because I
Because
know they're
this,
friends.
And
and this is I wanted to, and Dalek once again, and a pleasure to meet you. Actually, we couldn't talk a lot, but yeah, we'll probably talk in another stream or something if I find you. I tend to go to other streams and everything like them.
Here, Dalek, why don't you tell us about your channel and
Mm-hmm.
what you're up to this week?
um, I've I've not really been doing that much on my own channel recently, but I have been doing a weekly thing where I review each episode of the Orville on Potato Revan's channel.
Yes,
And
that's wonderful. Everybody definitely go check out Potato Revan. And that's Revan with the E, not Raven.
yeah, Revan, not Revan, not Raven.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, great. And that's where we can see you. Okay, thank you so much for joining me,
Yeah,
Dalek. I
yeah,
hope you
yeah,
have a good time and have a great day. And I
yeah.
hope to
You
see
can
you on
see
the
me.
show some other time.
I'll hopefully I'll be on again. I'll be on your channel
Mhm.
again soon, Jill.
Sure.
So yeah, but yeah, I gotta go. I'll see you all. See you all next time. So bye for now.
Bye.
Bye bye. Have a nice day.
And now you're big.
Oh no! Change me. Yeah, there we go. I don't like to be the center or anything. Disclosure: I have seen more than 300.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Hungry Boy says, I have seen more than 350 horror films, episode shows ranging from the silent era to today, including foreign stuff. So I know where Cherry is being a debutante. Very interesting. Yes, we could use your experience here. And great stuff, Dalek. Cheers for being here. And Pop Culture says, there was no back and forth. I was muted, but thanks. Oh, wait. No, nobody muted you. I did not mute you.
Probably disconnected.
I would,
Sometimes it happens in StreamYard.
yeah.
I'm be like talking and out of nowhere it's just
I
like me, and
I have
it just
never
disconnects.
I have never in my life muted anybody on my channel. I might someday, but I don't preclude the possibility of it happening. But I did not do that. Okay.
And
Just a clarification. I really hope you could rejoin us, but
Oh,
I
he
understand
muted
if you need.
himself.
I am glad you're in the chat at least. The more heated, the better. A good shouty match is great for the blood circulation,
Okay.
says Resolute Germ. Hungry Boy says the worst episode of current sci-fi is better than a blind date in Slough. Pop Culture says, also a huge fan of everything from Silent Films on. I'm currently watching Lon Chaney stuff. Oh, you muted yourself. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry you felt you had to do that. Yeah. Yes, it's very important on shows to allow someone to complete their thought before cutting in with your opinion. Your opinion, both opinions are valued, but first allow the person speaking first to fully express their notion before moving in. Because I know both want to express themselves. And pop culture is very good at brevity. So he will give his opinion and he will then allow the other person to respond. So a little patience, it goes a long way on both accounts for sure. Hungry Boy says, I'd adore doing a thinking person stream about horror stuff with you. And Dalek says, I'll still be watching. Oh, great to see you in the chat, Dalek. And Pop Culture was done with the conversation.
Not like a hippo and things. I will not sip. Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. I sometimes, and sorry if this bothers you, Pop Culture, but I'm from Argentina. We curse every 5 words. I'm not joking. This is a reality. So sometimes I'm probably gonna go say, and this is normal for me. I don't know if it bothers you, Jill, but I do say "goddamn" a lot, and this is kind of common to me. I don't know why. Eventually, a lot of people tell me like, cut it out with it, and I was, oh, sorry, it's just kind of normal to me because here we use it a lot. And
I
sorry,
understand. I mean, if you can temper it, do, but if not, I understand. Zombie says, okay. Anyway, I wish you were on here so you could tell me about this stuff. See, I like to learn more about pop culture that I don't know about, and if you were on here, you could actually tell me about this. But I understand. I'll stop bothering you about it. I'm sorry.
House by the Cemetery, nice movie.
So let's move on with this episode. In order to try to get some answers, the crew go to the cafeteria where the children are having lunch. This scene, normally I don't do this, but I do like this part. I know some people like it. I don't really know. I don't really know anymore.
Well, the cafeteria.
There are several available seats.
Not for you.
I am prepared to take them by force.
Bortus, let's look someplace else, huh?
You have a 5-head.
No, you don't.
I just got it. I didn't got it the first time. It was like 5-head. Oh, 4-head, but okay.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he said, like, I'm prepared to take it by force. I was like, yeah, do it. Oh, no, Burgess. He's a great character.
Yeah, well, and it's also always good to see somebody standing up to someone who behaves that way.
Yeah, oh, right. I always love when they actually did that to me. I was like, okay, and I just like turned around and go away. I didn't care if they were like that. I was like,
right. Yeah, but Bortus is going to be Bortus, and he always is Bortus. So I like seeing that. And Doc Valiant says the social engineering has been so effective, you can see how parties react to the topic being honestly spoken about. And Hungry Boy says, no, Jill, you must not watch Fulci horror films. Why not?
Fulci.
Fulci. Okay. I'm going to forget about it because pop culture is not here to elucidate about it. We are not allowed to talk about it anymore, says pop culture. Well,
yes, aside from the Kraken scene.
Bortus was the best part of this episode, aside from the Kraken scene, to be honest. Have none of you heard the 5-head comment before this? Ask Resolute Germ. I have never heard it before this. I'm
from Argentina. This is kind of new to me because, honest to God, in my place they will be like, that is not a natural blonde. Perhaps that will be like another one, but no, it's not like we don't use that kind of things. It's like somebody says something mean to us, and we're like, okay, and we'll just like we'll keep on walking. We don't care. But yes, no, I never heard the 5-head. Honest to God, because like I said, I'm from Argentina. We use like in this case, I think a lot of people will use like, and I cannot say it. No, this is YouTube. Sorry, I will not say it. It's something so up the top that you will not believe me, but they will use it.
All right. Well, thank you. And along with that, the multiphasic aliens are pulling 20th and 21st century movies from the minds of the crew and the database. Is my theory there. The kids who talk to them confirm that it's best to pay Randall by the bleachers, and we'll soon see why. Now, I admit that even though I do have my own excuses for why they're seeing a 21st century school, that it would have been more fun and more interesting to see a more futuristic 25th century school that Gordon would have actually had personal feelings attached to. Meanwhile,
technically, they cannot use that one because, as always, Mercer always says the same. In the 21st century, we stopped being like that. We stopped with the racing and everything. So it will not work because they needed to actually put that kind of thing that happens a lot. And still up to this day, it still happens a lot in some schools and some places. So they need to actually use a little bit of that.
You think there are no bullies in the 25th century?
Technically, they say like nowadays it doesn't exist because you're part of like a meritocracy, so they don't care about if you're good or bad, fat, tall, whatever. They don't care. They don't judge anymore about that. They say it a lot in the show. Probably they wanted to portray the same as Star Trek. That they say like you've seen it in your own clip. We don't send bigotry in this place right now. So it's like probably they put into that place. So they say like 25th century will be like
fair point.
A perfect place. So we will not have bullies like that, But yeah, I kind of understand they try to push that one, a little bit of agenda into it, but I don't care nowadays because I wasn't at school that they actually
that's
liked.
A part of it. We're a bit numb.
There were fights every day, so yeah, they were not so wrong. So
right. Yeah, right. Everybody would go and watch it. So, meanwhile, we see Claire, Isaac, and a couple of security crew head to the planet to find the original landing party. And school lets out, which allows the crew to leave the high school. They can't find the shuttle or contact Orville. Given no other leads, they decide to find Randall, and we see why it's so important to pay his money. And
we're looking for Randall.
You found him. Oh, shit!
Okay, same reaction. I will have the exact same reaction. I'll be like, what?
Yeah, he is in fact a giant troll-like monster. I never played D&D, but some of the reviews I said say that he looks like he comes straight from that game.
It looks like one of the monsters from Mass Effect, so yeah. I have no idea of D&D, but I know from Mass Effect. So.
Oh, okay, Mass Effect. What does Gordon do quite frequently in the environmental simulator? He plays lots of video games where he defeats fantastic monsters that are very similar to this. So it's not really too much of a stretch for me for the aliens to pull something like that from his memory to turn it into a real threat. I think that the multiphasic aliens' power of mind reading is very limited, that they can only pull bits and pieces, not knowing the context. That would explain why they can create life-threatening scenarios, but they wouldn't be the crew's actual fears in particular. Nowhere in this episode do the aliens claim that they could read the crew's fears directly. Just data from their minds and computer data banks to create superficial environments. The one thing that does bug me is I think that they do to indicate that the aliens are reading and recording the crew's feelings and experience at the time when they believe they're about to die. How this is done precisely is never explained by the aliens, so we have to guess.
That's it. And
so there's just some shots of that alien creature. I think it was well done. I would like to hear what Pop Culture has to say about that exactly. But let's see what we have in the chat here. I only have them in the chat, so I need to read here. Hungry Boy says, "Good point, Dalek. Benevolence exists, despite what blue check marks maintain." And Resolute Germ says,
Sorry,
"It would
bye.
have." Oh, that's okay. Resolute Germ says, "It would have helped if they had a movie night earlier in the episode where they were watching 80s school movies. Yeah, that would have been great." Hungry Boy says, "Might we also discuss the glory of Hammer's The Gorgon at some time, if StreamYards will accept my mic?" Yeah, if you ever do have a mic that works with StreamYards, you're very welcome on my show, Hungry Boy. I would love to hear from you. And Pop Culture Curator says, "Thanks for staying and talking to us." Yes, thank you, Pop Culture, for staying. And Hungry Boy says, "Oh God, the Kmart Star Wars Rancor." Oh, Star Wars Rancor. Okay, I was dreading this moment. And Pop Culture says, "I was bullied in school. The bullies never looked like the kids in the bathroom. They looked like the ones in the lunchroom, but they won't be honest." Yes, there was more diversity in the lunchroom than the bathroom. That is a fact. Gorilla's Random Thoughts says, "Such badass of Tala to hit him with that bench." Yes, but it is a badass moment. But of course, always remember that
Yeah,
that is the
in
alien.
the Alien, yes.
Um,
Hammer. He probably means Warhammer 20K.
oh,
Because
okay. What is that?
it's an actual, like, it's something like, let me just, I don't know how to explain it, but it's, imagine like a Gundam. No, but it's not Gundam. I don't know how to explain it. It's a tabletop kind of game that you actually have to collect little
Oh,
miniatures that you
okay.
paint them, just like D&D in the miniatures, but it's actually
A tabletop.
around. Yes, a tabletop game.
Very
If it's
cool.
no Hammer Film Company, he's not talking about that in another comment. No, it's another thing. Okay.
Well, I know very little about so many things, so I like to learn here. Anyway, Zanzoltan says, "Dude, they were all the colors in my school. They didn't care. Bullies are bullies no matter the color." But I kind of understand what you mean. Oh, that's you.
Yes,
And he said,
I mean, if I wanted, I could have told you already, but yeah.
I respect. Thanks, I respect her. I can't abandon her because of. Okay, thank you, Pop Culture, because of another bully. I think Dalek is very sorry. The reptile would also be a good choice for discussion since it has Blake 7 connections. And Pop Culture says, "I was raised in California, so I speak of the type you see in this episode." Yes, you have very direct connections to the people in this high school. And Gorilla says, "My mic is just a $20 headset from Family Dollar." Yes, if your mic is too fancy, it won't work in StreamYards. But if it's just a $20 headset, sometimes they work just fine.
I mean, I have a microphone there was actually, I'm not joking about this, $5, and it works great. So I probably need to buy a camera because the camera is shit. Sorry, I shouldn't say that word, but yeah.
Oh.
And yeah, it's
okay. Oh yeah, your mic too.
Yeah.
Pop Culture Curator says you haven't seen Blake 7 yet. I hope that we can continue doing shows together, and if we do after For All Mankind, I'd love to do Blake 7. And Hungry Boy thinks he'd dig Blake 7. Yes. Clobberin Times and Raquel talk a lot about Blake 7, and so I definitely want to see that after I finish watching UFO. Okay, so thoughts. Okay, so Dalek says, "I can't believe you're still going on about the bullies not being first enough." It's just a pattern that Pop Culture notices, and I'm not going to slight him for that. It's something that happens. So, "I was in Catholic school," says Hungry Boy, "in Sydney. Bullies were utterly diverse."
Hi,
And
Captain Cockney Spock. Sorry.
oh, hello in
I
the
know.
chat, Captain Cockney Spock. You have entered my most dramatic stream ever. But it is for good reason, because there are shows that are disrespectful to who do pigeonhole certain races and who do demonize them. And even though I don't believe this show did it, there are indications that there are other shows that do that, and when that pattern is seen elsewhere, it's something that people notice and are are and their opinions are very much. I mean, I wish
Okay.
he were here to actually say it, because I don't want to speak
Okay.
for him. I'm
No,
not
no,
going to
no.
speak for
I kind
pop
of
culture,
understand what
but
you mean, but I'm just gonna say this. I still love the fact that
Mhm.
sometimes you kind of understand that we're discussing this because it's important to some people, and it's okay. But
Yes.
let's be kind of happy that we're discussing this and not discussing how they destroy the character of a Mercer or Gordon or something like
Right.
that. Because like they
Exactly.
do in the Star Trek every week, and we're like, okay, how are you gonna
Mhm.
destroy tonight, Captain Pike? Because you love to destroy characters. Okay, tell me this week how you gonna destroy. How are you gonna destroy Obi-Wan Kenobi, or how are you gonna? And I'm like, dude, I'm just happy to see this could be like to a lot of people that actually are seeing a lot of shows. It could be like a 6 or a 7. To me, it was like a 9. Why? Because I was not.
Yes. Yes.
I was
Actually,
like
I
that
agree
plot twist
completely
at
with
the
you.
end. I was like, when she
Okay.
appeared, I was like, okay, I know who you are, but it was great. And I was like, okay, I didn't see that twist.
Yes,
I
I
was
agree
thinking of.
completely.
We're gonna talk about it also, but that's what I
Yes.
mean. I prefer to discuss this other than discuss like this was destroying the entire continuity and the lore and everything and we're seeing it a
Yes.
lot of times right now. So yeah.
Yes, and I agree. Yes, Doc Valiant also says that bullying comes from childhood trauma, and it can also be tribal, and that's true.
Mm-hmm.
So then so now they also run into another modern day setting after Gordon has his death experience that is recorded and experienced by the aliens, and after Tala knocks out the monster, they run into another modern day setting, a commercial airline. Even though this one ends up capturing Ed's life flashing before his eyes, the setting itself comes from Gordon. Back in Lasting Impressions, he claimed to Laura that he was a pilot and that he would fly her somewhere. This type of promise could lend credibility to the possibility that Gordon practiced flying an ancient aircraft. If anything, the crew recognizes it as such. And this is the sort of disconnect from reality that is typical from Q like beings. Just remember in the episode Hide and Q, Q doesn't recognize the events that occurred several hundred years before the 24th century as being very much different or very much attached from humanity in the 24th century. So he uses elements from that past to pit the crew in a life-threatening situation. In order to tempt Riker and everything with Q powers. Q knows Earth history, but he severely misinterprets it, just like these multiphasic beings.
And because they are disconnected to the humanity that actually comes from learning about the story and everything. It comes from actually understanding the experience, and she actually says it. We lost all humanity completely. We're one. I don't want to spoil that because I have to. Okay, sorry. I keep on doing this because I love the ending, based on what she says. It is such a normal thing to say, and I love the ending of Seth MacFarlane, what he says, because it makes sense. In that reality of being, there's a lot of discussions about everything like that, but being immortal into that point, I've seen a show. I'm not showing you about this. There's a YouTuber actually makes cartoons in Argentina that is called Tres Acordes, which is great because he actually shows an immortal being, and when the entire universe explodes, he's just floating in space, and he has a discussion with himself about how reality and life and death and everything works around, and nobody like listens to it. And this is the same. It's like a being of that power, of that connection to everything and everything that is happening and not happening and everything. You kind of like lose all that reality of humanity because humans are like a dust, a speck,
Right. They've
an atom in
forgotten.
this.
They've
Yes.
forgotten mortality. They've forgotten their roots. They've forgotten everything about their ancestors somehow.
Mm-hmm. So they need to recreate that to feel once again, to understand what it means actually. So like then, okay,
Yes.
let's keep on going with the episode. We will talk about
Yes,
it when she
please.
appears.
Yes, we will definitely do that. So Gordon is concerned that the pilots. Oh wait, we cut to Finn and Isaac, who can't find the landing party back on the airplane. Oh. Yeah, and
Yes, as they get into the planet, they say like there's nothing here, not even the shuttle. There's absolutely nothing, like no records of life, nothing at all. So like there's like normal planet that was completely a desert. So and once again they actually show like, oh sorry, it just went into another place. Okay.
oh, I was listening. I was
Oh,
just
sorry.
setting up the
I
next
don't remember if
slide.
this was the scene that actually show like what he says, like come back. Does Lamar appear in this part or after it? Because I can remember if they
Oh
go to that
yes,
place.
that's right. Lamar says you
Okay, we lost
come
one
back
team.
to the ship.
Yes, come back to the
Uh-huh.
ship, and they say like we should like check if they are right or not. They say we lost one team. We cannot give the opportunity to lose two. So come back, and we will check every time,
Oh.
every 5 seconds if it's necessary. But
Oh
come
wait,
back.
no, that doesn't happen yet. But
Oh,
you're
okay,
right. Yes,
that's what I mean.
I do
That
like
is a
that
great.
part.
That is a great thing to say from a captain, because a
Mhm.
captain always thinks about his crew before, even if they have a peril kind of situation, everything they have to. In other episodes, I remember the second season, they say like they will do the same for us, but this is the same place. It's like in a captain's seat when you have that moment of being a leader, you have to think we lost one because they actually get into that planet. Let's not lost two. So just come back and we will keep on checking every 5 seconds if necessary. But we cannot afford losing our own like our own chief of medicine and everyone inside there. So yeah.
Yeah, and Doc Valiant says he doesn't watch the show. It's hard for me to watch TV, and it's got so much when it's got so much messaging. Hard to imagine Seth doesn't have messaging, and pop culture agrees with you there. Plus, I know the person that Gorilla knows the person that owns Family Dollar. So Resolute Germ says somewhat true, but not the majority. Kids are just assholes most of the time, which is a very awesome, great point. That is absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
Hungry Boy says, it's 3 minutes to 5 a.m. here. I'd only do that for Jill. Oh my God. You can go to sleep if you need to. You can always watch the replay, Hungry Boy, but I definitely do appreciate you being here in the chat. And Pop Culture says, this is the first show I've seen by Seth. And Pop Culture believes he hates men for some reason.
Oh, he hates everyone actually, but that's the funniest part, because if you hate everyone by equally, you kind of understand what happens. But yeah, if you think about it for a little bit, there's always going to be some kind of messaging around everything. But I still love that the first and the second seasons, even with all the disparity there is, because you kind of understand that when a woman is stronger than you kind of have to, because he's a captain. And when he sees Tala and I can't remember the name of the other girl, was actually the same planet of
Lara.
Lara, there we go. He actually like treats her with completely respect. He never says to her like,
right.
You're stronger than me, so you should like learn your place or whatever. He's just like, oh, can you open this kind of can you open this kind of pickle for me? And it's like this sharp pickle, sorry. And that is what it means when you're a captain. You have to understand that everyone in your crew is important. And this is why I love, that has nothing to do with this, but I love One Piece because of that, because they believe in their captain. They will never like go behind his captain, because they believe that when the moment actually comes to have that decision of being between his crew and everyone else, they will still believe in his crew all the time. So that's important in a show like this. A leader has to be for his own crew and for himself, and everyone has to believe in him, because that's what a true leader does. Anyway, that's out of the game, but no,
that's a good point. I've never seen. That is a very good point.
Because if you have a leader that you don't believe, for example, I always say that about STD, because Michael Burnham can never be a leader or a captain, because she always have to have the last word, the last, and it's like,
Mhm.
I will not follow you because you always want to be right, even if you're wrong. And then we all know the situations always go into her
Right.
favor. But if they're not, if
Definitely don't
once,
want to talk too much about the filth here.
yeah, but that's a reality that nowadays that a lot of shows do
Right.
that, and it's hateful because I'm like, I will not follow you, not even. It's like in the same way The Expanse did the same with Marco Inaros. Marco Inaros should have died in the 5th season. He shouldn't have been done in that season, but they still keep on going with that story. And when a leader is great and you kind of understand them, and his crew actually believes in him, I kind of understand it. But Marco Inaros did the same that a lot of other leaders do. That is, kill if someone doesn't believe in you, or kill if this, or kill if that. And you're like, okay, you're not following rules, or you're not thinking of your crew. You're just thinking about yourself. So
Right.
that egocentrism
Okay.
actually destroys your character in this kind of world. And
Well,
yeah,
I think there's
anyway,
a balance. I think there needs to be a balance between a strong captain who needs to make decisions in quick, life-threatening situations, and also a captain who listens to his crew.
of
So
course,
there's a strong
but
correlation
that's
between
that's
those
a
two.
reality that we need to have in a good show that actually understand what a captain has to do. Sometimes that is a difficult decision, but it keeps thinking about his own crew because even if anyway, let's just keep on going. We can
Yeah.
discuss this for hours, so let's keep on going with
Yeah,
the episode.
clearly you have quite the talent there. Hungry Boy
Thank you.
says, Cherry rips off Final Destination. Sorry again. Horror film knowledge. Cherry is shameless. So, Grella thinks that Bird of Prey 5 was flying the plane. I don't know about that. Hungry Boy says, and
Yep.
the
Sorry, but this is funny because he says that the passengers disappear on the airplane. This actually made me think. I can't remember which. It was Rick and Morty when they said like the simulation is getting too hard. Just cut off some of the simulation to keep on going with it because probably. Uh, uh, I found it funny in my own mind. It didn't make sense inside the story, but yeah, this is a normal trope that they do because you kind of think of what happened to the people. It was this is what puts in their minds: is this a simulation or is this real? Because we just see a lot of people screaming and doing things and that, and they just disappear. What the hell? So we're not actually in a world like that's another thing that they try to push, and is I love it because they're like transporting into another places in another time, and then you kind of think, is this a simulation or not? Because technically there were people right here, so probably we can't kind of get transported into this place or not. Because as they show that if it's a simulation, you will see like getting caught and everything will not work. So you kind of think, okay, this is a teletransportation to another time. So when they transport me to an airplane, we're probably in an airplane with people, but then it disappears. So you're like, okay, once again, this is a simulation or this is real time? And this is what she was trying to plan into their minds. If it wasn't a simulation or real time right now happening something. So I kind of understand why they disappear. It's just like putting into their minds that doubt. And that doubt is important to a person. Because when you start like, the biggest fear that you can have is not understanding something. And this is the biggest fear you can have. So when she actually took off everyone, they will be like, okay, was this a simulation or not? And it's funny because the reaction is like that. Sorry, once again, I'm rambling. Stop me if I do this. I always say, stop me. Oh, she actually like cut off her mic. I don't know if she's doing something. I can
Oh,
just
I'm
keep on going.
sorry. I was talking. I don't know why I muted myself. That's weird. Anyway, the passengers disappear on the plane. That's been done at least 3 times beforehand. I'm sure. Yeah, that's definitely a trope. I will only speak up because Pop is right. I don't feel like I'm derailing. Y'all are talking about the show. It's objectively a touchy subject. Absolutely, Doc Valiant. Thank you for showing up to my show. And Resolute Germ says, no, it could have been Bird, but the plane didn't blow up. To Gorillas Random Thoughts. And
Oh
Pop
yes,
Culture points out there's a bad blue screen.
Of course.
Oh, he was talking about the desert scene we saw previously. Hungry Boy says, to be fair, Jill, I must admit, if someone has not seen gazillions of horror shows, this episode would be quite entertaining and fun. And thank you so much for coming back, Pop Culture. I'm so grateful.
Hi.
And
Hello,
as
guys.
you can see, there's a lot of
Oh,
support
and
for
I'll
you
be
in the
right back.
chat.
I have no audio. I have to
Oh,
do some troubleshooting. Bear with me,
okay.
guys.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Thank you for coming back, though. Okay, we'll see you in a moment.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Okay, it's my headphones. I had to unplug them from one jack and put them in another. Sorry about that.
Mhm. Okay, and you can hear us too?
Yes, I can. Thank you for your
Yes.
patience, Jill.
Yes. Yeah. You're welcome. And thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate. We actually work really well together on these reviews, and I wanted to hear more of your thoughts.
And I don't want you to feel that I abandoned you. I would never do that. I'm so sorry, Jill.
You didn't. You stayed in the chat, which I understand you needed to step away. So I appreciate that you came back too. So it's not like if you didn't come back to the chat, then maybe, but you stayed. You stuck around. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So, Hungry Boy admits that if someone has not seen gazillions of horror shows, this episode would be entertaining and fun. And that's pretty much me. I don't watch a lot of horror. I watch sci-fi horror like Alien and Cube, but not a lot of actual horror.
Yeah, Hungry and I have a lot in common. Hungry, message me on Twitter. I put my Twitter handle in the chat. If you didn't see it, let me know. Or send me yours. Unless you're already in my Twitter, I don't know. But sorry, go ahead, Jill.
Oh yeah. Hungry Boy's on Twitter. I'll help you with that.
Right. Hey, Hungry Boy, let's do some reviews of some of these movies. I need to start adding content to my channel. And so far, I don't have anybody who likes horror movies like I do. I need someone to talk to and bounce ideas off of. So let me know. Think about it.
Oh, that would be awesome. And Hungry Boy, like people are saying in the chat, you only need a $20 headset mic. And Snortapoopus Cuber says hello. Oh, Snortapoopus is here. Okay, hello, Snortapoopus. I'm just catching up on the chat here. Curilla's random thought says, "What's the difference between blue screen and green screen?"
Pop culture, have an idea because I have no idea.
Yeah, I answered in a chat, or I can answer now, whatever.
Okay. You already answered it in the chat. Okay, I'll read it then.
Or I can describe whatever's easier.
Okay. There's some. I don't want to talk
Doc,
directly about Seth personally.
Right, Doc. I agree with you in many ways, but Doc did not. Seth did not write this episode. You got to remember. This
Seth.
from Cherry.
Seth didn't write it. So
right. This came from Cherry, who I have a feeling, by the way, this is written. She was never bullied, but it's written like somebody who has heard of bullying.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell she's never been bullied. No.
Yeah, yeah. Of course she's not. Or whatever, whoever she was or he was, because I know for a fact that is not bullying.
Yes,
that's more like the mafia.
I'm older now, Hungry. I'm an old man now, so I do wear reading glasses that I put on. But I used to have 20/20 vision for many years.
Okay, very good answer and question. Hungry Boy asked about pop culture's eyesight. Thank you. And Pop Culture says green screen is a newer invention because it looks more realistic than blue. You don't see the harsh line around the subjects as badly.
Oh, does that make sense to you guys, that description?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's why green screen is now the standard. Okay, that makes
sense.
Right,
for example, when you showed Chuckles in front of the screen with the... you can tell there's a hard line around her. You could, like somebody drew it with a pencil. And with green screen, you can almost see individual hairs. It looks a lot more detailed and looks more realistic. Like even though I'm not a fan of Star Wars, but that's what Disney used. The Mandalorian is all green screen, so it looks far more realistic. That's blue screen goes way back to the silent era, and green screen is a fairly recent invention because it just looks more realistic and it blends the subject with the background far more believable. So it's kind of hard to explain. But if you ever look at examples of old movies that use blue screen, you can watch an old movie and it'll really take you out. You're like, oh, you can. But I'm a fan of old stuff.
Yeah, and it really shows. I like to hear all about the old stuff too. And Pop Culture says Seth puts all the women on pedestals, that they are strong and smart, and the men are weak. I have pointed out some men are strong on this show, but I get that.
Lamar, right? Because of their race. In real life, not in the show. Bortus and Lamar are the only strong men on this show, and we all know why, but we can't say.
And Isaac too, but also he's no race. But I don't know. I don't really see anybody as beta or anything on this show, but I do understand your perspective, and I will let you.
That's fine.
Express it. And ironically, hungry, but not like a hippo. Says, ironically, that's New Seth was accused of rampant misogyny from the late 2000s onward. I think he was course correcting here. And Pop Culture says, if that's true, he's overcorrecting way too much. And Captain Cockney Spock says, a good captain will always listen to his or her crew. And Dalek says the chat's depressing. Oh boy. And Hungry Boy says to Pop Culture, overcorrection, if that's a big ship, it would break the ship in half. No joke. Okay. And Captain Cockney Spock says, I'm here for you, my Dalek. And Hungry Boy says, the disappearing passengers happened in Lisa and the Devil back in 1973. So old. And yay, we're back on track, says Hungry Boy. And Pop and Jill are like Mulder and Scully. Oh, well, yeah. I've only seen a couple seasons of X-Files, but I do like, that's true. That I could see that. Hungry Boy says, hit me with the link again. And Gorilla's a little behind on the chat. And Doc Valiant says, life is depressing. Well, yeah, that's why we're trying to talk about fun stuff, about, escapism. I hope you feel better, Doc Valiant. And hate, I hate Hot Pockets too. I don't know what that's about though. Yes, Cherry's bullying was a barista telling her to wait, ma'am. And
I need to clarify something.
Sure.
Sorry, Captain. They actually used black and white in black and white movies. For example, when they filmed The Invisible Man, he was covered in black, like a black felt. So yeah, blue screen is one color. So yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Snortopoopus says he used to have 2015 vision, but now I can't see past my snoot. And Doc is talking about disappearing gingers. Yes, that definitely happens. And a reference to a tribe in New Zealand. Gorilla's Random Thought says, want to solve an argument. Does Charlie deserve a Tasha Yar death or an Elvis death? Excuse me.
Oh. I have no idea what he means with that.
Oh, he's talking about our new beloved navigator, Charlie, Chuckles the Clown.
Okay.
I'm sure that cleared it up even better, huh? Sorry. We're talking about the blonde, arrogant new navigator who.
Oh yes,
Isaac,
no,
right?
yes.
Right, because of her attitude in the first episode of season 3, the way she treated the whole crew and Isaac, right? That's what we're talking about.
I mean, I kind of understand her because I would be kind of skeptical too if I needed to have. But as you see in this episode too, once Jill get to that point, that is still an illusion at some point. So we don't know. She will probably not be into the Kyle Owen kind of thing until we see. This is going to be probably one entire or 2 seasons, perhaps, of her understanding that.
If you ever get a chance, go back a couple of weeks and check out our review of it. I think we went into really good detail.
Yeah.
Electric
But I mean,
Sheep, wasn't that the name, Electric Sheep, Jill?
It's kind of a reference of Blade Runner. Those electric sheep actually have dreams. Yeah, and it's great because when you see that entire episode and how he's just delete himself because you doesn't like the word. it actually shows like it a lot. For example, myself, I thought like he did it because of some kind of depression or everything, because we cannot see the human side. But it was like, no, because it would be better and more efficient to the entire crew. And I was like, oh yeah, it kind of works. So yeah, but I still think that the second episode was better because
and I spent an entire review trying to see things from Charlie's point of view, but when she keeps it in the lunchroom, but when she brings it to the bridge, I think that is a very dangerous thing that could
yeah, she put the crew and the whole entire mission in danger, and
I think
let them
I
walk,
see what
let
you're
her walk
saying
all
now
over
in
them.
this episode. I see what you're saying now in this episode, that it happened when I see it actually happening. Yeah, Chuckles is always going to be causing problems.
No, Snortus. Chuckles has been put in the bottom drawer here the last couple
Yeah,
episodes,
right.
thank goodness. He's only got a couple lines.
But even those couple lines can cause some kind of mayhem. And
the less the better.
And yes, I do know how Elvis died. I didn't really expound much when you said that.
Oh, right, we all know.
Tasha died because of a monster, the tar monster.
Tasha died because the actress wanted to leave the show. So
yes,
they just
yes,
said,
she believed she could become
right. So they spent 2 minutes writing her out. Yes.
Yeah, she believed she could become a movie star.
Right, that
I've got to
big
get through this episode. I am going too slow. I need to pick it up.
Go ahead.
So
hi,
I appreciate all you guys in the chat, and hello to DJ Ronnie. And I'm sorry,
hi, it's Ronnie.
I gotta move on.
Him Rooney.
So, Gary is concerned that the pilots are doing everything they can to make the plane take the bumpiest and most dangerous ride possible. And I do like how he knows that these old planes could withstand lightning, which they do, which is another indication that he knows about ancient aircrafts. Possibly from...
I mean, you kind of understand that he's probably like looking at everything, because if you have to be a pilot for a new kind of spaceship, you want to understand everything around any kind of spaceship.
That's
even if it is like 200 or 500 or whatever years there are before, because that's part of your story. Like they will be perhaps in his own academy, they will like, have you ever seen an airplane from the 21st century? We're gonna explain to you how it worked before. And it's important to actually know, because you can never understand, and especially because, as we all know, they play video games that were kind of realistic, even to the episode of the Cowboys and everything. He'll probably be like, I one day I want to like have an experience of living as a pilot live in the 21st century. And if I remember correctly, he said that the same to Laura in the episode of the memories and everything. That
That's
he was
exactly
a pilot.
what I say here, and possibly from research that he's done to fly one for Laura because she wanted to go on an airplane.
Why only Gordon's memory?
Because he took
because it's the only one that makes any sense. It's the only one that makes sense, pop culture. Otherwise, this scene doesn't make any sense.
No, that is the point I'm trying to bring up. It doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying, where you have to fill in the plot holes with your mind. It's very, very bad writing. But like I said, I know that's not a popular opinion. I think it's to save budget, because they had an existing set. Just like the high school, they had an existing set.
I will concede, yes, I am making some excuses by filling in some things. That's why I indicate that it's a possibility, that I could be wrong. One bit of fun trivia is that the man speaking for Captain on the plane, telling the flight attendant to take their seats, is voiced by Tom Constantino.
That's the trivia he had running on Twitter, is for people to guess where he was in the cameo, and people were trying to point him out on the plane.
Yeah, right. And so he was actually a disembodied voice, so I guess no one was actually flying the plane. And here pretty soon we get a bit of self-indulgence for anyone that's ever been frustrated by a stewardess.
Oh yes, I love that scene. I was thinking the same.
You need to return to your seat immediately. Sir, I need you to go. Sorry, I was distracting.
So
I will be like, I will have love if she's like, what? It's an illusion. I will have love more of that.
These days, though, shouldn't have been an unruly passenger. Would have been more believable.
That's true. Gordon is easily able to read and interpret the console, indicating that he's played at least one simulator, a flight simulator on the environmental simulator. I realize that's just guessing on my part. I admit it would have been nicer if he'd mentioned that to give us a clue.
Well, how about different eras in time?
Mm-hmm. And as he's crash landing the plane, it is Ed whose life flashes before his eyes recording.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I wonder why they go to this place actually, because it will be like kind of a Bortus thing.
Right.
But
it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't connect to Ed at all. It connects to Gordon, so it is strange. I admit it. And as they're leaving the plane, so does my need to keep explaining why they keep encountering 21st experiences. Because now, after this crash, it is Bortus's turn, and the crew is in a Moclan morgue. We get to learn a little more about Moclan culture. They turn the coffins vertically so that they can complete any unfinished business before moving on. So we get confirmation here. The Moclans believe in a type of spiritual step between death and the afterlife, the same way that some humans believe in ghosts who can only be relieved after they complete some affairs on Earth.
I just like the idea that they show some kind of. They say like it was 7 days, if I remember correctly. Like they give them a week, perhaps, and as they show once again, they still. This is the funniest thing because we already know that the females exist, so it would have been nice if they actually like explain if the females think the same or not. But eventually, they're probably gonna be showing a little bit more about that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, we have
Moclan religion probably is more still like male centric and everything.
I think
but
in a
I
couple
still.
of.
Yeah. Anyway, that's for another episode, perhaps.
Yeah, right. I think that in the future we are going to get more from the Moclans. There's an episode coming up called "A Tale of Two Topas," so you're absolutely right. We're definitely going to get into that soon. And here's Tala the alien. But when we didn't realize that she was an alien who was moving things along, this scene only makes sense after the fact, because when I first watched this, I was thinking of this.
So what'll happen? That's just it. We don't know. Maybe something bad. Maybe something good.
So not knowing that she's an alien, this seems like a really stupid thing to do.
Yeah,
like if it was actually Tala.
I love that you use that scene because I love the fact that the narrator then involves into that place and then it started like pushing Stimpy to push that button, and up to this point I still think that when I saw the scene it didn't make any sense because I said like who will push a button just out of nowhere because it makes sounds, but then you kind of understand that she did it because
she knows what's going on. She's in on the joke, the big joke that these arrogant aliens are playing on everyone. So, yeah, so the button doesn't do anything bad. It just opens all the coffins, and one of them, it looks just like Bortus, and zombie Bortus causes Bortus to get.
Okay, this is the funniest part because I've seen, probably pop culture. I've seen a lot of people. I've seen and Evil Dead 2. The scene that actually he sees his own reflection and he kind of like chokes himself, and then he sees that he's choking himself. I thought that they were gonna go that way, that way of he was being choked and he was choking himself, and they will be like, "What the hell's going on?" But when I see the scene, it's kind of a really, really bad thing to actually see because you're seeing yourself dead, and then the dead yourself is actually trying to choke you to kill you. You're gonna be like, "What the hell is going on right now?" And I found it funnier that he doesn't even like for 5 seconds say like, "I just tried to kill myself." He was like, "Why?" But we all understand that it's Portus, and it's kind of like. He probably see it like a normal thing to him because he'll be like, he probably his own thing that he needed to do was kill himself. Anyway, out of nowhere, I still think that it's an impressive scene because there will be nothing more fearful to actually see yourself trying to kill, also seeing your own reflection trying to kill you. So yeah.
Yeah, right. Not even mentioning just seeing yourself dead in general.
Mm-hmm.
Hungry Boy says the actress is great. Okay, so Chuckles the slow down story clown, but the actress is great. Seriously, yes, she plays that. She plays the character that they've given her very well. I'll definitely give her that.
Right, she could win an Academy Award playing Amber Heard.
And is Deckard a hipster? Okay. Zanzoltan. Hello, panelists.
I know him.
he's a
I've been
Canadian.
in his streams and everything. So yeah,
Oh, good.
he's a great guy.
Passive aggressive. Who is passive aggressive? Hungry Boy says no, because he can handle his smoke. Dalek says nice one, Captain Cockney Spock. And Hungry Boy says Jill is going to eat that link. Yeah, well, my son goes to summer camp this week, so I've got to pick up the pace a bit. So Presley Germ thinks Gordon is a simple-minded one. And if Snortopus had written this episode, he would have had a gremlin on wearing a Shatner mask, peering in the window.
I mean, if you want to explain it into itself, I will have done the same because it's honest. This is kind of like that, in the scene of the airplane. He said, like, there's a gremlin in the wing. You kind of understand
about that, but I can guarantee you, Cherry has never seen the Twilight Zone. Everything that we've seen referenced so far is in modern stuff. I don't think she goes back that far. I really doubt she has any experience at all.
Doc Valiant says these locations must save money. And Hungry but not like a hippo, says, I was supposed to be commenting here while making art, but the feistiest Jill stream of all time. This is the feistiest Jill stream of all time, so no art completed. Oh, I'm sorry.
Even more than Electric Sheep.
I know, right? I didn't think that was possible. I thought that was going to be our big drama stream, but no, this blows it out of the water. So, Hungry but not like
I was
waiting for that gremlin.
Yeah, it would have been awesome because they actually even portrayed in The Simpsons and it was funny as hell. But I don't know if they could actually pull it off as a funny moment. It would be more like it would be kind of weird, but I don't know. Perhaps a little cameo now here and there. It would have been nice.
There seems to be more than a few flight attendants who need that sort of handling, says Snortopoopus. And Resolute Germ says it connects to Ed because he has always feared Gordon's flying would get him killed. Oh, okay. I hadn't thought of that. Very, very good point. Hungry Boy says, I wish Seth was a Doctor Who fan so we could have a scene with a mock Dalek outside their casing using gross tendrils to strangle one of the characters. Hungry Boy says, nice choice of reference. Don't Mocklins have a choking kink, says Gorilla? I don't know.
Technically, yes. They have a kink about, in one episode of the show, they like have like a little bit of BDSM. So yeah, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, when
when they show them in their retirement, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Hungry Boy says, so wannabe Nightmare on Elm Street there, whoring out the Mocklins for Cherry's lack of horror acumen. All right, and Dalek says this whole scene was creepy. I think so too. Seriously, horror fans must not watch this episode. Too much knowledge.
I mean, if you've seen a lot of movies and everything of horror, you kind of be like, yes, I've seen this. Yes, I've seen this. Yes, but this is more not of a fear of getting that jump scare or everything. It's more of the fear of death. That was what she's trying to push. So it's not. I mean, I saw this, and I myself, I've seen a lot of, not so much probably as this, pop culture and Hungry Hippo. I'm gonna call him Hungry Hippo. I don't care. They've probably seen a lot of horror movies, and I'm like, I've come to a point that I'm still I keep on laughing when I see something like this, and you kind of have to keep me into more of a psychological kind of horror. For example, still up to this day, one of the greatest film horror to me is In the Mouth of Madness, because it's kind of like keeps around the entire psychological kind of terror. If it's just like a jump scare or a kind of terrorist kind of, how can you kill? How can I kill you? Or how can I show you something is spooky? Or be like meh. But if they
Right.
try to push your mind into thinking how that character will feel in that moment when they seems everything unfolded into him, you'll be like, oh, I will be in the same place as him, and that's what I love.
Right.
That's
Mouth of
what I
Madness
love.
was Mouth of Madness was a
Sorry.
great John Carpenter movie.
Hmm. And the thing too, because you kind of understand that in that kind of terror, you kind of love everything that you have around and every character and every person that you actually live with for months and months and months. So you'll be like, God damn it, are you a monster or not?
Well, but
And that's
the difference is those movies were actually scary because they were written by talented writers.
yeah. And we actually have. I up to this day, I still think that this is one of my guilty pleasures because it's a stupid movie. But anyway, Basket Case, I still love that movie because the first one is kind of like
Cannonlauder, yes, absolutely. And also, have you checked out Hooker?
no, that dude. Put me that name in private chat because if it is like Basket Case, I want to see it. I
Same
love
guy
that
made
movie.
it, right? Hooker, made by Frank Cannonlauder, the same guy that made Basket Case 1 and 2, right?
Yeah,
anyway,
I mean,
sorry, Jill. Go ahead. Let's continue with this review.
sorry. Yes, we're going
Yes.
a little bit out of place, but
Yes,
I
that's
mean,
okay. I don't mind a little bit of that, but I do
please
need
write
to move on
it,
a
pop
bit.
culture. Please write in the private chat so I can look it up because I don't understand a lot sometimes when somebody speaks the words. I still prefer to get it right written. Sorry. Once again, keep on. Sorry.
Okay, then we have this long staircase out of nowhere. I think this part is just weird for being weird. It doesn't really serve any purpose except as a conjunction from one illusion to the next. The next illusion is for Kelly because it's time. It's time she's got her experience done too. And this time, that's weird. This is the first time I did a screen cap and it actually captured the captions. That's strange. And the next illusion, okay, right, is on Zalea, which this one I almost used as my title card, but the other one was better. Ed, this gives Ed finally the conclusive evidence he needs that these are all illusions, or else everyone but Tala would have been crushed to death by the gravity. And they see this blinking light pattern in the distance. The only function of the light is to entice the crew to check it out with the raft that is provided to them on the lake. It doesn't mean or do anything else. Kind of like the stairs. It's functional to get our crew to where we want them to go, but ultimately without any other purpose. That doesn't bother me as this is a rat maze, but I can see how it could be a bit of a negative factor. I don't know if anybody noticed that. It would for me if this were all real. I mean, I know it's sort of real and that these are pocket universes that the aliens made, but this is a big science experiment, so it makes sense for there to be some contrivity to it. And Kelly is doing her job as first officer to be concerned about Ed's possible concussion. But also, this is just because it's her turn to have her life flash before her, and she tells him not to put himself at risk. And Ed takes her advice.
No, it's also in some point you kind of understand that it's a correct kind of answer because he's a captain. He shouldn't be like in fact, he shouldn't be there right now because they probably should have sent somebody else instead of the captain. But you kind of understand that it's a normal. That's why I love this kind of show because I think about it. It's kind of normal if they have to make a first contact for the captain to be there because it's the first contact for a new kind of civilization. So if they actually see like this planet never has life, no one has life. Well, we need to actually like hold them and say like, they're not like answering anything. Well, then we're gonna have a first contact. Please, my crew that is a pilot and the muscle. Let's just call it the muscle, and my second officer just in case. But yeah, that's the truth too. They probably save a lot of money with locations, but I mean, I don't mind. Sometimes I kind of understand that it looks kind of cheap because it looks kind of cheap a lot of the time. But I've seen cheaper and with productions that I even like. We all seen She-Hulk, and that is a $2,200 million production, and you're kind of like, what did they spend all that money on? And so yeah, but I still prefer this kind of thing. Like,
Hello, PJ. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, hello
Hi,
in the
Orville
chat to
Nation.
Orville Nation, PJ. Yay. Hungry Boy
Yeah.
says slasher, not horror. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry,
Correct.
that's my yeah.
Right.
That's
Two
what's my
different
miss.
genres, right?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Actually, slasher is a subgenre of horror. I would say.
And Orville Nation loves my reviews. Thank you very much. And
Yeah, Long Staircase, I love the fact because it looked like the Resident Evil
Hungry
2,
Boy
you
liked
know,
the long
like
staircase.
yeah, me too, because they remind me of Resident Evil 2 when you went from one stair to the other, and it showed like that kind of thing.
And Hungry, you're right.
Resolute Germ says if he couldn't figure out it was illusion by then, he needs a brain exam. Well, yeah, they do mention that in the Mocklin morgue that they need their brain examined. Because, yeah, okay. Then the only thing I can think of during the Kraken scene was a rum commercial. And Orville Nation, Hungry Boy asks Orville Nation to please keep Cherry from writing more scripts.
Oh, hi, Mark
DC.
DC.
To Mark D with the C. Hi, all, he says. Lurking at work, so I can't say in the chat. I like this episode and appreciate all the good points everyone is
Very
raising,
cool.
pro and con. Agreed
Hello, Mark. Yep.
completely. And it is so much fun to talk about it, so that's one thing maybe we can all agree on. maybe fun, maybe distressing, but it definitely brings up emotions. I did like it.
I liked it.
And so Zanzoltan liked it. Pop Culture, Hungry Boy, and oh well, I can't really say Doc Valiant because he hasn't seen it, but he is definitely bringing up Valiant points regarding their opinions, and he has every right to every one of those opinions. And so Gordon says, "What the hell is that?" And
oh no, a Final Fantasy VIII monster! I thought for a second they were gonna say something like that because
I
it
was
was so
thinking,
obvious.
I was thinking the daughter of Harvey Cthulhu, but that's the wrong show.
And she was probably Horror Amorata right there.
So, the squid monster pulls Kelly down, and Tala comes to rescue her because the alien does not actually want Kelly to be harmed. So once they both feel in danger enough so that the death experience is recorded, Tala rescues her.
They say like I find it funny because when they say like I felt that kind of experience out of body, they actually died in that moment. That's the entire episode, and that's what I want.
You think that they actually
to me they actually died, and then they were revived because they actually showed like their dead eyes for a second. They say like you felt that, yes, like I was not in my body anymore. They say that a lot.
So Ed died just sitting in the captain's chair of the plane.
Yes, they died. All of them died in that moment.
That's a good point too. Pop culture, just dying just from seeing death, but not actually. Yeah. So there's no way that Ed died. He experienced. I thought it was just
fear. It was just fear.
The fear of death. The fear of
but that fear of death actually a shock.
I thought the alien.
A shock if you think that that point, a shock of that magnitude could actually kill you. Some people actually die from cutting their own fingers. I'm not joking. So they probably just put that kind of fear into a shock so powerful that they actually died for that second. It could be just 1 second, but it's enough to actually feel that death to the person that actually killed them. So when they show that because as you see it, it's not an illusion. They actually like went like.
I mean, both. I think that it's just. That's possibly true, but I think it really is just life flashing before your eyes because that is exactly how it's described in the episode.
But in that moment, to me, it will be like she probably like put to that point. I don't know. I still think that they die for a second.
The alien explained at the end it was the brink of death, not death.
Mhm.
The alien
Yes.
actually said so.
Yes, that's right. I think that's absolutely right. A mysterious door pops up, but Ed has had enough of being played with, so they head back and they discover a power signature in a cave. And it seems that what they find in this cave is
Wait. Stop back one frame. There we are, the Bat Cave, ladies and gentlemen, Bronson Caves. I was just there a couple months ago. Thank you. Thank you for getting this deal, Jill. When I watched this, I was hoping you would catch this.
Yeah, you were there? Did you
I have a video on my channel. I have a video. Actually,
I missed it.
For the public, they have a chain link fence blocking it whenever the public is there, but they open it for shooting like this. So on my channel, everybody, I have a visit to the Bat Cave. This is the Bat Cave from the original 60s series, by the way, Adam West. So you can imagine the Batmobile pulling out of that cave and making a right-hand turn.
Oh, I didn't know about that. Nice.
Yeah, this is up at Griffith Park in Los Angeles, right? Thank you, Jill. I'm glad you included this clip.
You're welcome.
If I brought it up, you guys wouldn't say I'm crazy.
Well, I will find that video of yours and put it in the description below later. That's so cool.
Oh, okay. Except I was there during the daytime. You guys will see.
Mm-hmm.
I do show the cave. It's got an entrance in the front and the back, and I show it from both sides. I walk all the way around it. So okay.
Very nice. So this holographic device, when I was first seeing this, it seemed too small to me to provide the power and the distance for the illusions that we're getting. And so that's why I love that it turns out not to really be the Kalan, because that would have been way too unbelievable. Their technology is more advanced, but not this much. So it makes more sense that it's a near godlike race creating universes that we can't understand or fathom how they're doing it.
Right, and this shows they're not the Q, because Q would not need this. If anything, they're like Trelane.
Right. Yeah, Trelane for sure. All the knowledge, but none of the discipline. Very good. I think that's the takeaway from this episode. I still love this episode and give it an A. I just acknowledge that these aliens are flawed, and they are like Trelane. They have all the knowledge, but none of the discipline. So,
and yes, Hungry. They also Robot Monster. Yes, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers, among many others. Yes. Sorry. Go ahead, Jill.
That's okay. Let's see. Where were we in the chat here? We had Orville Nation in the chat. And Mark D with the C says, should have my 3D printed Orville painted in a few days. Printing another one now.
Yeah,
awesome.
Can't wait to see that. We've been watching you print that.
Yes, that's great. And we saw you we saw the results of you having sanded it and everything. You really take a lot of good care and artistry with your work there. It's really neat to see. And hello to Noki Master. I'm gonna
what the hell
that is.
Go ahead, Jill.
Hungry Boy says, I'm still working on your present. It involves many artsy steps, and sometimes my hand no worky. LGG says, episode 3 was nice. Glad to see morals with omnipotent beings finally. And Orville Nason says, interesting. And they're saying hi. And the Kraken was like, screw you guys, I'm going home. And DJ Ronnie says, I see it more like the aliens tapped into their brains when they were on the verge of death. Yes, that's how it is explained. And this is the episode. This is where the episode should have ended, says Resolute Germs. And we have a lot to look forward to with this new character, PJ. I think so too. And you know what? Whether someone likes or dislikes this episode, I think it is pretty clear that this species is going to come back again and cause some kind of mayhem.
Well, we have a lot of expectations for these next 7 episodes, but we'll see.
Yeah. The dive wasn't real. It was an illusion like everything else. Yes, agreed, Resolute Germ. But of course, it was also shown that you can be hurt But then the alien says, "Oh, we would never actually hurt you." But I think
Right,
that's
and then at
also
that
part
point,
of their arrogance.
we'll talk about that when we get to that scene.
Yes. I'm sorry. I was the one who jumped that time.
Oh no
Oh.
problem, no problem. It's just I have a comment I want to make, but then I'll make it.
A weird godlike race that talks like the Gilmore Girls. Yes, I have a thing for that too. We'll get there soon. I will have done one thing different in the end of the episode. Says LDG.
Join us, LDG. Get up here and tell us.
He would have, yeah. I would have had them restore the Orville crew's memories that they asked them beforehand. For permission to do this. Oh yeah. Yeah, right. Because they didn't have any permission. They just experimented on them without any kind of recompense.
Narcissistic, sociopath. Yep.
Agreed. PJ says we may even see her again sometime. LGG says keep the whole episode the same and just add that twist. All right. Okay, so let's move on. Bortus deactivates the shield protecting it, and Ed destroys it. And the holographic projections appear to fade away, revealing
blue screen.
Yeah, revealing the blue screen desert. but we know, having watched the episode, that they're still in the simulation. So they take their simulated holographic projector pieces to the simulated shuttle, to the simulated Orville for more simulated fun. So here as they dock in the shuttle bay, Dr. Finn tells us that she's found a residual polarization in the landing crew's cerebral cortex. Which is an effect that we can place on our brains now, but usually we use electrodes. So who knows exactly how the aliens are accomplishing this? Finn says it's a neurogenic scan having the effects of ayahuasca. So that these illusions had to be they were holographic projections, but saying it was like ayahuasca is saying that the crew were also partly having a trip, because ayahuasca is a type of hallucinogen, and this was their attempt at making credence to the projections, combining neurogenic
but she actually say too that all simulations could take that, like they switch off that, how is it called? Like that protective system, and they could feel the same pain and everything like it was real.
Yeah,
so I don't know if this is possible or not, because we've seen it in the episode when the Muklan, kills, the husband of the other kills the other one that was actually.
If you take off the safeties to the environmental simulator, you can have danger and even die. So yes, this is their attempt at giving credence to how the projections seem so vast and realistic, and by turning off the safeties in the projector, or not even having them at all. So we know that this isn't really
this isn't real.
So I don't know if this is the aliens partly explaining how they did this, or how they construct their pocket universes. We don't ever find out if this part is actually really how the illusions occurred, or if this is just some kind of ruse. Not ready though to end the delusion, the aliens further convince the crew that the holographic generator is Kalon in origin. By having simulated Isaac explain this. So it turns out that they didn't need any of those other illusions. I think that maybe they could have. I feel like it's possible that the crew didn't need to leave the Orville at all for the aliens to have conducted these experiments on them. They could have. Kept. Yeah. This one convincing everyone that it was really the Kalon deceiving them when they attack. They could have had everyone's life flash before their eyes, all on the entire crew, if they had made the illusion for everyone. But I guess these beings preferred the rat maze that they made for the crew instead. The multiphasic planet shifts back for 11 days for the Orville universe and 700 years for the multiphasic universe. But I still give this episode a high grade because I do love it. But these Q-like aliens seem like they're a little inefficient when they could have made these illusions just on the ship. But it was a fun episode nonetheless.
I stepped away for a second. Did you already cover the ending with the alien explaining?
No, I haven't gotten there yet.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
No,
sorry.
I was expressing just a possibility that these aliens could have made the illusion on the Orville itself, like just another possibility that they could have
Yes and no, because
I could agree with that, right?
Yeah, and that
think
way
that
it would have been. That way it would have been. They could have gotten the death experiences of the whole crew, which would have been more scientific data for them to collate.
Yeah, I just have a feeling that the studio is not far from UCLA and Los Angeles High School.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes sense, and it doesn't make any sense too, because if you think about it, they didn't want like a lot of people in the same way of concept that they just wanted some people to know about them. Because if this happened, she actually will have to reveal herself into all the crew entirely, and it will be kind of a conflict because they didn't talk about it about anything of this at all to other people. So I don't know if they're gonna be talking about it or not.
Well, if she would have been a truly advanced civilization, she would have had the option that what if they would have sent down Isaac? What would she have done then? Right? Plot hole, everybody. Plot hole. Oh, well.
That would have been fun. I would have loved to see that. I want to see an alternate episode. It's only going to be 10 minutes long, but I still want to see it.
It's not going to happen. They're not going to redo it. Thank God.
No.
Thank
Not
goodness,
that they need to redo it, but I think it would be funny. Well, they don't swear the 5 people to secrecy or anything, so I don't think that that's the case. Anyway, the reason is that there's nothing more scary than having a powerful enemy like the Kaelon suddenly develop such a vast advantage as to be able to manipulate their enemy's perception of reality. I think that's scarier than anything else in this episode.
Because you can never know if you're on your own. This is what exactly happens, because you don't know if you're on your own ship or anything. So you're like, oh, damn it.
And ayahuasca has been known to turn harmless opioid addicts straight after one trip. Wow, that's incredible. I hear about that. And Hungry Boy says, Cherry cannot think past the obvious. Resolute Germ says, the perfect place to end it, but they had to overthink the ending. It's much better to keep the device a mystery than the convoluted ending we do get. And Snortopoopus says, this is the sort of thing that would make the crew wonder if anything they experience from this point is real or not. Yes, that's true. This does severely cause a mental disruption to the entire crew. Hungry Boy says, show me a good sci-fi script she wrote and I'll change my mind to Orville Nation. And not
that'll
like
never
Carrie.
happen. Her history is Family Guy. It's mostly writing with Seth MacFarlane, SpongeBob SquarePants, a couple episodes of that.
SpongeBob SquarePants. Oh, I didn't know.
TV shows. So that's what I'm saying is her lack of sci-fi, horror, and everything else experience is glaringly obvious in this episode. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So this scene with the illusion of Halsey is just to help the viewer keep believing that it has to do with the Kaelon, which did work on me the first time watching it, which is partly why I really enjoyed this episode. And if you saw through it, then I can understand why you don't. They discuss transferring the fragments to another vessel for research, the fragments of the holographic thing. And Simulated Isaac warns that they are not Union ships. They are simulated. And this simulated Charlie knows how to be confrontational and mistrust Isaac. But unlike before, I'm not as offended this time because this is not the real Charlie. But it does capture her pretty well.
I assure you, my statement is accurate.
Is it? You don't know what kind of sleeper programs the Kaelon could have hidden inside your head?
How nice. She's such a loving character, isn't she?
But
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I'm glad she doesn't talk down to anyone, and especially a superior officer, but oh well.
I know, good point.
Sir, please, we can't trust him. That's enough, Ensign.
But that's all she gets.
Over emotional, over the top, condescending. Thank you, Amber Turd.
But I think it's over exaggerated because the aliens. Hopefully, she doesn't do anything like this in
We've
reality.
been saying that for 3 episodes, and she hasn't
I
changed
know,
her tone yet.
I know. She needs some kind of catalyst to change her tone. I don't know how that's going to happen.
It won't.
How,
She's a
The
strong
catalyst will be
woman.
Gordon
She's a strong
hitting her
woman.
face into the table and be done with it.
There's no discipline for women on this show. Anybody who's watched it knows that women are they're exonerated for everything and they're the top of everything. So no, this is her character we are seeing. There is no further arc. I was hoping at the end of Electric Sheep there would have been an arc for her character, but there wasn't. They never ended it. So her character is still the same hateful, spiteful, bi whatever that she was from the beginning. Unfortunately, I don't know why they wrote her this way.
Well, they did put a Krill woman in prison, although she did escape. However, this isn't. I tolerated this from Charlie and Electric Sheep because I was trying to look at things from her point of view. But the captain trusts Isaac, and that's really all that should matter when she's on the bridge. And I understand if she wants to express her opinion, but this kind of thing could definitely endanger everyone if she ever actually behaves this badly. So I'm going to be watching out for that this season. And I'm starting to lean a bit towards your point of view there in terms of that. Even in a false simulation, it's getting pretty tedious.
And I agree with Resolute.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dear. This is... And Hungry Boy thinks the bait and switch plot was obvious. Okay.
Yeah, this one was obvious.
This sort of thing would make the crew wonder if anything I experienced from this point on is real. And SpongeBob. I was done with this episode by this point. It says Resolute Germs. And not even Nancy Drew would have Chuckles as a gal pal. So I think that Charlie needs to either trust Isaac and work with him or give up her post to someone who wants to work for the good of everyone on the ship. Ed fortunately doesn't listen to her and instead uses a more logical assumption that another brain-altering illusion was at play that Isaac would be immune to.
Now remember, everybody, she's a fantastic genius who can imagine the fourth dimensional geometry.
That part I do like about her.
But is it believable? No. Her attitude, the way she's immature?
I had a clip for that, how it is believable that she can see the shadows of fourth dimensional space. And I don't know if you remember that you can see slices. There was a two-dimensional creature who could see only slices of the third dimension in two dimensions, and that's how I'm imagining that she can see things. But I don't know how that correlates to actual things that she sees on the console.
Well, no, that makes no sense. I'm just saying that supposedly she's really smart, which is in total conflict the way she acts. She acts very immature and ignorant. It's just a conflict. She doesn't speak or carry herself like somebody who's intelligent. Is all.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. I get it. You don't.
She's smart when the plot needs it, I guess.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're
technically,
not saying
she will see in 4 dimensions, but she has to fight one simple plane, spaceship in this case, and she couldn't hit him not even once. And I'm like, is she holding up, or is she's actually not that good? Because it's like, I can see shapes in 4 dimensions. I was like, yeah, but you're gonna hit one spaceship. Yeah.
Oh well. Sorry. Go ahead, Jill.
And so then we have this Kalon battle, and things are looking bad. But then we transfer to the real Orville, which has Lieutenant Commander Lamar. This is still the fake Orville with the Kalon. But here, the aliens pause the universe, the universe illusion that they've created. And they pause it at this moment right before the ship explodes from a quantum failure. And back on the real Orville, I guess I didn't get a clip of it. Lieutenant Commander Lamar is still at the con, and they find out that Kiali Tala in the real Orville Shuttle 1 has been waiting for them for 3 hours. So a beautiful alien woman appears. But I guess according to her next speech, and according to some interpretations of that, I don't think she wants to be called that. But for lack of knowing what to call her, I will be using female pronouns. Her name is Denal. And Tron was definitely the first thing I thought of, just stylistically. But it is shortly clear that she is more like the she is more like a not completely advanced form of species that we see on Star Trek and also The Next Generation, similar to Q, but a little less advanced than that, or the Metrons, Telosians, and lots of others. So Denal admits that she's the one who's been torturing the crew almost to death, or at least simulations of death. And her first demonstration of that arrogance is offering them tea while they're still under the illusion, and they're rightly put off by that. So she finally dispenses with that and finally allows the crew to see the real planet on the real Orville
They
shuttle.
even included a tea party. How don't you love it, little girls?
Mm-hmm. Huh?
Perhaps she was British.
Yeah, she could. I thought she was Californian.
She is. That's the whole thing. The only time you ever see a girl on a tea set like that is a little girl with her little dollhouse and her little dolls and her little tea set. It's just very immature, but oh well.
Yeah. She is playing one at, so yeah.
Is she a Metron?
Technically, yes.
Meat trans. No, she's a meat trans because they don't say
Oh.
if she's male or female, so she's a meat trans.
She's a, oh, well, I mean, like Q, she's neither. So, Hungry Boy, at this point of the episode, I thought, well, at least Alara was not wasted in this mess. Okay. Well, I have to mention it because she mentions it. So Gordon realizes this and states it out loud, which earns him a very superficial point from Denal.
Can I say something? I'm sorry to interrupt, but
sure.
Because I'm trying to go back to what you said a minute ago, where she explained that it was all just to see how they were feeling and they weren't really in any danger.
Oh, but we haven't gotten quite.
All right, go ahead. Then I will get to when we
yet.
get there.
We will get there in a minute.
Go ahead.
Gordon realizes that they're in reality finally, and Denal gives him a point, very superficially. While she states that she likes humans, she treats them with disrespect and talks to them like they're kindergartner students.
The men, only the men.
Well, no. Well, she is also.
Remember,
She also makes.
Yeah, but remember on Claudia's channel, Raquel was pointing out, or whoever that was was reading the exact text. Remember, they were saying that when she looked at the men, she said this, and when she looked at women, she said this. She only put down the men, the gold star, and talking to them like children. That was only the men. And she looked at Kelly with praise.
Because to her, she was our god, eventually.
Well, we haven't gotten there yet. She actually does reveal the reason why she acts like she does. She actually does reveal it. Go ahead, Jill.
No, yeah, as I saw her, the second I saw her, I was like, yes, she's from that world that actually went 700 years and 10 days or something like that. She's probably still think that was a god. So I was like, yeah, it kind of makes sense.
Despite her arrogance, the reason why I really do still love this episode is because this actually, we see that other godlike aliens are arrogant like this. Maybe none of them talk like they're from modern day California, but the arrogance is the same. And in fact, I have a bit of a theory about that. Perhaps she doesn't really speak this way, but pare down her speech to that of the 21st century to show again her misunderstanding about time and space, because she doesn't really. Because
I guess
she
Alex says
manipulates
I'm delusional about this scene, apparently, right? I guess I'm the only one who has this opinion. Once again, it's a singular opinion, apparently.
No, it's okay. It's your opinion. You can have it.
Yeah,
it's not. That's my point. Is it's not just my opinion, but I'm just going to keep it to myself because some people they love to tell people to shut up. So
no, it's your opinion. It's okay. You can have it. Nobody's going to shut you up. You can have it. I'm not going to chase you. I'm not going to.
I have no problem self-muting. I'm fine, guys. I'll be right here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Delusional about this scene. Okay. Pop culture. What time do you estimate break whenever the show's over?
I have to delay it again. Sorry
I'm
about that,
going.
Gorilla.
Yeah, I'm sorry too. I wanted to end this
Jill,
on
take your
time.
time. I'm in no hurry. I may not even do it still. Go ahead, Jill.
I'm almost there.
Take your
I'm
time.
almost there.
Seriously, take your time.
Well, my theory was so I get that I have to have a lot of theories for this episode, but that she doesn't really speak this way, but she pared down her speech because she doesn't understand space and time properly because she controls it so much. She melds it all together, just like Q does. And I acknowledge that trait while still loving the episode because I expect it from beings like her. She finally reveals what I gave away at the start of the review for argument's sake, that she is the advanced form of the multiphasic planets race who once worshipped Kelly. Her next act of arrogance is how she addresses Kelly and her people's god, but really admits she's a woman who made a mistake, which Kelly is already guilty about, and Denal rubs it in by calling her clumsy during her ancestors' development. And Kelly apologizes again about it, but Denal then says it's irrelevant. But I preferred the answer of the multiphasic aliens from Mad Idolatry, not Mad Dollar Tree. Or back then, they were more wise and grounded when they said, "But had it not been you," referring to Kelly, mythology would have found another face. So they
Jill,
had
can you do me a favor, Jill?
Yes.
Because people are mad at me if I speak up. Can you say what Raquel said about
yes,
what the alien said about men and
yes,
religion?
I will.
Yeah, please do.
I
Yeah,
will.
because if I bring
Yes,
it up,
I have.
I'm going to have people shouting at me again, and I'm tired of it.
Okay, I get it. Okay, so so it's amazing. We will get there. So Denal explains that our people have guided evolution to be more efficient to advance what beyond what nature could produce at random mutation.
Sorry, did it just got cut off?
Are you there, Jill?
Can I offer you some tea?
And
evolution is blind and drunk. It stumbles along by trial and error, and emerges with a barely adequate excuse for a being.
So, and then after everything they've been through, Captain Mercer gives the conclusion that her species is immortal, which earns him that gold star. And Denal says those hallucinations and holographic illusions are more than just that.
The content was gathered from your own minds and cultural databanks. I apologize for the brief disorientation. That's what happens when you share a mind.
And I'm not sure if that means that the neurogenic ayahuasca-like reactions and the holographic combination was actually how it was done, or they just created their universe in some other way that they can't explain. But no universe behaves that chaotically. But maybe they do because they're fabricated. Since they're fabricated, they're a little more imperfect. And so she confirms here what I've been saying. You know, everything's an illusion, what everybody knew. To create events in which each of them thought they'd die. Denal and others of her species experimented this time, and others of their species experienced mortal danger directly through each of them by entering their minds somehow that we know they're not going to really share. Bortus asks why they want to experience death. Since they're immortal, they've forgotten what it is like to die and wanted to reanimate that knowledge within their culture.
I apologize for the brief disorientation.
Well, I'm glad you got your existential rocks off, but the fact is you put us through hell.
It was all in the interest of knowledge.
You poke a worm to see what it'll do. You could still kill the worm.
Centuries ago, my people used other species for experimentation in the name of knowledge. Didn't take us 50,000 years to realize it was wrong.
And these clips tell me that the show is aware that what the aliens have done was wrong and that they're arrogant even in their pursuit of knowledge. And
This
that is
the
why
point where Gordon should have said, "Oh, so you didn't really mean it. You didn't really mean to hurt me, huh?" And then her and Mercer and Bortis should have started doing to her what she did to Gordon in the bathroom and said, "This is what it's like, lady. How does it feel?" Yeah, you're right. It is fun. It does feel enjoyable. That's how I would have done it.
Mm-hmm.
But no,
They will be vaporized in 5 seconds, so they will be like trying to do something.
Right.
She will be like, poof, done.
This is like WandaVision. Somebody going through and just torturing people around them and just walking off scot-free because she just enjoyed it. It just reminds me, even though I didn't watch WandaVision, this is that character again and again. Narcissistic and sociopathic. They get their kicks off torturing others and walk away scot-free because they did it for the fun.
and
That's just
I
old.
agree
I'm
that
tired
the
of that
crew
plot
should
being written that way.
That is, of course, that is wrong. But that's another point. She's completely a god in that world. You will try to say something, and she will like vaporize you in 5 seconds, or put you inside a cage that you will never leave.
We haven't seen any evidence of that power. All we've seen is a hologram.
Yeah. I agree that
Yeah,
the crew
those
should
are
have
not
been-
holograms, technically speaking. They actually felt hurt. They actually almost died.
She
So
had to
that's
have
the
a
point.
mechanical device, though. It wasn't much. She didn't use the snap of fingers. She had to have a mechanical device to simulate, right?
I don't know
No,
that
she just
they
used
would
her
have gone
hands, their powers.
that far.
Even to that point, she will be like, "Okay, you want to try to fight me? You will be in a prison that you will never leave ever." So she will just be like, "You're floating in space right now for
Well, I don't think
10,000
they
years."
had to fight them. They just had to get angry. They had to get a little bit more angry than they did.
They
I
should have
think.
been angry, right? And they should have said, at least tried to punch her. At least tried and say, "Here, this is what it's
Mhm.
like, lady. You like to see people."
They were.
here."
They couldn't even try. They knew that her powers were too much when she
Yeah,
when she
that's true,
when she
too.
materialized
Hungry's got it-
when she
Hungry
showed
has it
them
right.
all the-
Hungry has it right. Can you read it? Yeah, read Hungry's.
16-year-old dialogue from a timeless being. May as well get Galactus to talk like Keanu and Bill and Ted.
Ain't
And
that the
Resolute.
truth?
Oh yeah. And Resolute Germ says that was the biggest waste in this episode. The Kelly worshippers are completely thrown away, according to Resolute Germs. And so you're saying Galactus Cloud would be better. And Captain Cockney Spock says more than 2 people think Deckard is human. Doesn't mean they're right. Hungry Boy says, let's be honest, it would have been Mark D with the C. The aliens got Jill. Oh no. Hungry but not like a hippo says, the problem here is that sci-fi here is sci-fi that boring thinkers cannot yield interesting plots or rationales. And that was a 2-parter, so okay. Dalek says, I will admit her arrogance is on full display here. And after 3 viewings and several review shows, this show has dipped all the way down to 4.5. And Captain Cockney Spock says, open your mind. We just turned the other cheek to prove humans are better, says Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Oh, okay, that's why they didn't become violent. I just wanted them to be a little bit angry.
So the device was an illusion?
I think it's possible, yes. It's possible that the device was illusion and they actually can fabricate universes. But since
So
this
they wanted them to
episode,
think they solved it? That's why they let them destroy it? They wanted them to think that they solved it?
yeah, I think that's a possibility. But we don't know for sure because this episode is presented as fantasy.
Well, yeah, and I'm not going to examine the mentality of a 16-year-old girl or whatever, so yeah, who knows?
Captain Cockney Spock says narcissists and sociopaths. Sounds like most YouTubers I know. And Hungry but not like a hippo says Jill is getting feisty. Oh, am I? Hungry Boy says, I keep moving the time up. I don't know if anyone wants to see it. I do want to see it. But
Sorry, that was for Gorilla. That last
Okay.
chat was for Gorilla. I'm sorry, Gorilla.
Okay.
Yeah, I keep moving the time up. We'll see.
Okay. Okay, so this whole thing is why when I first watched this episode, I misread it as the morality paradox, assuming that there was some kind of morality conundrum, and this was it. I wish that the aliens could have admitted that they could have been wrong to experiment on the crew like rats. And if she had, I'd have loved this episode more. Instead, she tries to say that they weren't in danger, but that's not entirely true, as one of them could have had a heart attack or something.
Just
But
look
I
at
guess,
Gordon's face.
yeah, right. And plus, we don't know that they really had the ability to bring back life.
No, this
from
is
the
just
dead.
somebody trying to wrap up the episode with a bad explanation is all.
I think to a point it makes some kind of sense if you think about it. If they have the powers to actually manipulate their realities as they want, wouldn't they like to actually like manipulate all humans to their own liking? So they just decided to actually play with them. That's it.
Mhm.
That is a
Yeah.
kid playing with
Yeah,
their toys.
right. They did say they
Only a
have
certain
nothing left but
only a
playtime.
only a certain personality trait likes to torture and get their enjoyment off doing that to others. That's a certain personality trait which I
Mhm.
don't share.
It's okay, but that's how this character works. She doesn't care about humans at all. She just wanted to see if they could actually experience that and then take the information that they need. Knowledge. That's it. She didn't even care about the people that actually decided to. Perhaps she just wanted to actually show their own god, as they actually managed to worship her as a god. How does it feel to actually be in the other part of the balance?
Right.
We don't know.
This is a supposedly omnipotent being written by a 16-year-old. Yeah, I completely get the perspective.
Mhm.
She knows.
Okay.
She thinks she's smarter than everyone else. That's what it is, and better than everyone else.
Yeah, right. And if they can manipulate time and space, like LGG says, then life is just a plaything to them.
Mhm.
And actually, it would have been interesting if one of them actually had died, so we could see that the aliens have that power that we're talking about, that they supposedly have to bring them back. And it would have also stopped the charade sooner, because they would have had to stop everything to resurrect the character. Like what happened on Shore Leave when McCoy died and the robots repaired him. And so anyway, that's another point of arrogance, that these aliens suspect that they could never possibly harm their subjects through this form of torture that they put their crew through. Did they even think of the psychological ramifications after this? If these aliens have forgotten death, then they must have also forgotten about mental illnesses also. And Hungry Boy says, this plot could have been properly concluded with any writer who bothered to care about sci-fi. And I was going to try to work today after, but it looks like I won't have the time. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No, Jill, it's no big deal. I make my own hours. I make my own schedule.
Okay, that's good. So now here it is. I finally got to it. Pop culture. Here is that line that a friend of mine really dislikes. There's two of them. Two of these lines. That
At least.
My friend Raquel Briggs, who is extraordinary, and she believes that it is didactic charge against faith. So this one is the first one.
You outgrew your gods and your nations as we did. You left your training wheels behind and you made it to the stars.
So that's the
How
first one.
condescending, right? And don't go after Raquel, guys. She's
No,
very smart. She knows what
don't.
she's talking about.
She's smart and beautiful and everything. And yeah,
Right, and she's got a lot of experience when it comes to writing. So I respect everything she says.
Yeah, and I can't explain her point the way she did, but she has a point that it could be considered disrespectful for those who believe their faith, their growth depends on their faith, and she's not wrong about that. It didn't need to be added to Denal's dialogue at all.
No, and not only that, though, but one clear thing is they should have told this idiot writer is, hey, you are outcasting more than half of your audience by saying that. You realize that, right?
Yeah,
and once again, they don't care about the right or the whatever they call the conservative or Christians. It's trash Christians once again.
And another one that slipped by me the first time I watched it was,
you simply must outgrow self. These abstractions that you inhabit for now. Captain, explorer, husband, man. They are irrelevant when you become one.
See, this is where I can't finish watching. This is where I got so angry the night of watching this. I'm thinking about deleting the entire series off my server.
Yeah, and my
Yell at
friend
me all
also
you want,
believes
Dalek. I don't care.
my friend also believes that this is a way of erasing men, which would be absolutely horrible if that's the way that I read it. I read it more as mankind in general, including all of the female adjectives as well.
Uh-huh.
She would have said that. She would have been specific, but she was specific in what she said and the way she said it. Let's not dance around the facts, please.
Noting that she also added explorer to the mix, which applies to all. I saw it as more similar to how the Q are not necessarily male or female. Q presents himself to Picard as male, but later in the series, when he sees how Picard is with Vosh, he laments not presenting as female to him as first. He is neither. Rather, Q is all or one with the cosmos, as Denal says at the end there.
And Margie
However,
with this C, she's a me-trans. She's not a metron, me-trans.
However, I will be on the lookout for language like this to crop up again, because if it begins to repeat, then I will probably change my mind about giving this a pass. She is.
I'm just so glad I had a scholar like Raquel to explain it, because she's much more eloquent with words, and she has a lot of history and experience writing, and she catches all these subtexts like I do, and that's what was such a relief, because I had so many people shouting at me on the channels because I was the only one that saw this, or nobody want. In my belief, everybody saw it and heard it, but they don't want to hear it, and they only want to look at the positive points. And I had so many people hate on me the last week because I brought that plot up, because I brought up what she said. So it's really sad. I'm glad at least Raquel. I'm glad there's at least somebody else out there that has the same perspective.
Yes, and Raquel is extraordinarily brilliant, and I fully admit that I could be wrong here. I will agree with her that using that particular line was clunky and not elucidating, and that she says that they are dipping their toes in the filth, so to speak. But I am hopeful that this was not the intent of this line, and that the Orville can wipe their feet clean, so we can move on to greater things in the next episode. And so I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt that they were talking about mankind, and that is why I can still give this episode an A. And my conclusion is that these aliens seem no different to me than to other mortal beings in sci-fi who believe that they know better than everyone on how to exist. At least they admit that they have lost a bit of that in not knowing mortality any longer. I hope that if we see a larger population of this species in the future, we will see that each of them chooses to inhabit either male or female appearances to appear to mortals in order to show that they still value both. That is one of my worries for the species, and I hope I'm proven correct, but I could be proven wrong. Other than that, I think that they could be an amazing antagonist or ally, depending on how they're feeling. Maybe they have more time than the 12 hours I keep giving them, since they ostensibly know how to bend space and time, so that 12 hours means nothing to them. And I'd love to see more, and that is why, despite some poor dialogue choices here at the end, I still rate this episode highly. And part of the reason why is this last scene. It is perhaps the best scene in the episode, even though they're all done with action. They discuss the truly philosophical questions regarding death, and what it's like when it occurs. Outside of those who have near-death experiences, most people cannot fathom it or what occurs afterwards.
Death is an essential part of life. It is a noble rite of passage.
Yeah, when you showed Ed, you can see the blue line around them. That's what I was talking about with the blue screen earlier.
Oh.
You'd live forever if you could.
Yep. Why? I want to see what happens.
And of course, we've all had these kind of thoughts about what it'd be like to keep going if we could live past that time, because we just want to see what happens. And I thought about that a lot too. And sometimes, I fantasize about that, but it also brings me back down to reality. That ultimately I conclude that fantasy is not currently possible. So the old cliche comes to mind that life is too short, so enjoy it to the fullest. And our mortality reminds us to cherish every day and try to do something meaningful with it, which is something different for each of us. Sometimes I'm not even sure what that is for me. In the meantime, I love my family, my friends, and everyone I've been fortunate enough to meet here on YouTube, who have made every day like an eternal convention. It's been amazing. So thank you to everyone who listened to me ramble on about this series that I really love, and I
Thank
hope
you,
the
Jill.
best for you all.
Can I
Sorry
give a
about triggering
little?
Tom.
Can I give a little final ending to this? I just love this kind of discussion because the Malcolm race still thinks about religion in this final ending. The humans decide that they want to live their life to the fullest, and just the captain says, "I would like to live forever because I want to see what happens." If we actually like take into account, Doctor Who, when they show them 6 billion years, and a lot of people tell us like it will not last or something, it will destroy them, and there you have it, Earth still living for 6 billion years. And I was like, if you could actually measure that and see it for real, it will be incredible to a normal human being because they will not comprehend what they actually see. And this is a reality too. As an immortal being, you actually, this is why I will hate to actually be immortal, because for example, something so simple as falling in love or finding the best friend in your life, being the only immortal being, you will actually be seeing all of them disappear eventually. And that fact that is a reality, that is
Yes,
a human.
that is the problem with being immortal, is that you have to see
Example,
the ones you love lost.
everything actually, you will have to see. For example, you enjoy a food that you actually love that is probably gonna disappear because eventually, I don't know, for example, cattle disappears because it has happened like 10,000 years, and cattle stopped reproducing, they don't exist anymore. Oh, do you remember when we used to like, if you have like a friend that is immortal too, you'll be like, do you remember when we used to like eat lasagna? Oh, that was awesome. What happened? Oh yes, tomato actually stopped existing. You'll be like, oh,
Mhm.
right, right. And that's the reality too, because that's for a human being, it will be incommensurable eventually. And this is what I mean when I say the Tres Acordes, which is that show that I mean, the show that guy actually lived for an entire eternity, for almost like to the 10,000 years, I think it was. And he said like, I hate this world, I hate everyone that is living right now because they have the opportunity to actually live their life to the fullest and don't know about all the things that we lost in all the entire time that I was alive. And he starts to explain, this is like a 10-minute video that they show this character actually it eventually becomes the devil, because the devil needed to exist, so they actually like give this power and they make him immortal just because of that. And he has to start killing people because that's the only thing that he finds to still keep believing that he's a human. So he finds pleasure in killing because that is the reality, that the only thing that actually makes him believe that he's still alive. And it's funny because the only thing that makes him believe he's still alive is destroying the life of another. And it's a great concept of philosophical mind of this guy that actually makes this
And
show.
similarly, these aliens have forgotten about living, so they're playing.
So they
with
probably
those who
just
are
try to
currently-
experiment with. Perhaps these are some of the 2 millions they actually experimented with, because they said like, "Oh, you're humans. Let's try to see that. Oh, this is another race that actually can, I don't know, replicate 5,000 arms. Let's cut all their arms and see how they recreate again." And this is something that a lot of let's just call it like this. And this, I know it's funny because it's stupid, but whatever. But when you have so much time, you start to do stupid things, and they probably be like, "Okay."
Definitely.
They probably be like, okay, what can we do right now? Oh, let's make this sun and stars exploding in a supernova. Why? Because we're bored. And that's it.
And
And
Mark D with the C says, in this scene, the Metron says that everything was real. They were not hallucinations. Yes, she explains that they're like pocket universes. But I was trying to reconcile that with the holograms and
Oh,
the
and another thing that she
ayahuasca,
says
and I
something.
guess it's just, I guess I
Don't
just
try to
don't
make
want
sense
all
of
of
it,
that.
Jill.
I
Don't-
guess I
yeah.
just don't want all of that to have been a waste of time.
If
I
the
mean, I
writer
love
can't
the-
make sense of it, Jill, you shouldn't bother trying.
Okay, there's a funny thing because when she says like, when I actually connected with your mind, it makes like that effect of losing your own body or whatever. It reminded me of Paul. I don't know if you've seen that movie that is from the Cornetto trilogy they call it, but it's not part of that. That is from Shin
Yeah,
Green, and
you have a
that
big Paul fan in the chat here. Gorilla's down there. That's his favorite
okay,
movie.
when you see Paul actually touching the face of another being and passing all his information, it's like an entire jug that actually like makes you pass out because it's so much information in such a single time that actually makes you leave your body for a little bit. So that's this actually reminded me of that like they're connecting their minds so they lose that reality for 5 seconds. So no, that I was completely wrong, and I admit it. I thought that they will die, but no. Technically, they like lose their body for some seconds because they're
Yes.
connecting to a being that is so intelligent and so powerful that actually makes them disoriented for a little bit. But it's
Mhm.
only a second. Perhaps to the being of this power, it's like 10,000 years, but she doesn't feel it. But to the person that actually is connected, it's like 1 second.
It's like
We don't know
trauma.
that.
Yeah.
They don't explain
So
a lot of the point they should have explained, but
no,
whatever.
they
At
don't.
least
They don't. And pop culture's telling me that I shouldn't bother. And Hungry Boy says at least her makeup was sexy. She was Tron fetish. And Hungry Boy says she's not me trans because she had natural curves. Yeah.
yeah.
Resolute Germ. The Q are male and female as proven in the Q and the gray. Oh, really? Okay, they are male and female. I didn't know that because there was a point where Q says I should have presented to you as female because he could present us, an Aldarian serpent or whatever he wants. So I didn't. I was confused about that. Thank you. Captain Cockney Spock says, "I'd rather be shouted at than blocked." And Dalek451 says, "Okay, I get it. The Orville is now woke." Right? No,
I guess
I
that's
don't
what
think
I said, huh?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember saying that
No,
either. But
he
this
didn't.
is what happens. This is what
But
happens.
That's what
he's
you're
noticing.
fucking implying.
Okay. Come on, Dalek. If you want to be on my stream, you can have logical arguments, but just straight out screaming. Let's keep that to a minimum, please.
I'm sick, but I'm sorry.
Find a grounded way to say what you want to say, please. And
I mean, everybody. Let's just kind of be
oh,
completely
Hungry Boy
honest.
thinks it's just lazy, not woke. That's another possibility.
Oh yes, that could be actually. There are 3 seasons already, but I'm still enjoying it, even if it is lazy. I mean, it depends on the person. Perhaps sometimes I get into single enjoyments into something stupid as just to see a simple twist that I didn't see it coming. I like the fact that there was actually like a character that came from that world that they actually explain like
Yes, right.
they eventually explain like they went to space and they went like a little bit better than them and eventually they
evolved.
even Mercer says like
evolved. They don't like the word evolved.
yeah,
but
they say actually like we don't like evolve because evolving means that it could be a trial and error, but we actually found out how to measure it and how to control it. So it's like, oh, so then you actually found like the secret of life. That is the reality because you found that. And they say like, okay, now we're gods. They were connected. She actually, I think she says like we're connected to the cosmos. We're not connected to like humanity and everything like that.
Right.
So I kind of understand that they actually,
exactly.
For example, they show like I always I think that this is what happens right now. They actually shown an avatar just to not make them. I don't remember which was the show, but they say like I'm showing you this because if I show you my real face or my real body, whatever, it will make your brains explode because you're gonna comprehend them.
Yeah,
it's the same as
this isn't.
It's the same as as some folklore of the werewolves where they say like you couldn't say my name, so we actually have to cut your tongue to pronounce it. Something like that.
Orville Spock said he can't say his first name because it's unpronounceable. That's when the writers are. It's called a writer's block. It's called a writer's block.
Yeah, but I mean, it kind of has some points inside this world because it will be kind of
very
interesting.
Convenient for the plot. It's a plot convenience, is what it is.
Yes, and Mercury with the Sea says, would they also be erasing women? She is specifically addressing Mercer as a man, which seems to me that they're saying that they have evolved to creatures without gender, but nothing is well explained by the writers. Agreed. Hungry Boy says if they became creatures without a gender, why does she have sexy 1970s disco platform shoes?
Okay, I have to go there because she probably has no ass like Brie Larson, and she needed something to show some ass. I
That's
mean,
why I
if
said
you're gonna,
trans, right? She's flat all around, right?
yeah, I mean, if you think about it for 5 seconds, I will be like, okay, I actually have to be completely naked and using this one tight suit. I would probably like to be at least being seen like a little bit better than I actually am, because honest to God, that those kinds of suits are never good
Well,
for the
remember,
body.
they don't want the male gaze, so they're not going to hire an actress that looks like that.
Nah, I don't think they actually care about that. If they
No, they
care so
don't.
much
This
about,
show is definitely fine with showing beautiful women.
yeah,
And so we've definitely seen that as a fact.
Yes, it very much is.
And this Resolute Germs thinks this is the worst episode of the Orville so far. And Mark D with the C, I agree with here. He says, did the writers intentionally make the superior beings so flawed in their speech and actions? Yes, I think so.
I think they actually show like this is once again, this is all conjecture. I have no idea. Perhaps the writer has morons, and I'm just trying to pinpoint something intelligent over something that's stupid, because they really like, D&D with the Game of Thrones. They say like, we forgot. I don't know. But to me, I think she actually talk like that and do all like that, because if she actually spoke in the original language and the way that she speaks for real and everything, she'll probably be like, I could make your brains blow up right now, because if I start like talking about how your body actually begins to exist to the point of this universe and how this universe expands to the entire and it will be like and then
Yes,
you
I
will be like,
considered that.
oh
I considered that she had to pare down her speech to
yeah, I
what she
think,
believed to be her level, but she went too low.
yeah, but I think,
And
honest to God, if we let, there's not a middle point in this kind of discussion, because if you go like the other way, you'll be like, oh, she's so pompous and arrogant that she actually have to speak in a language that nobody understands. Like, for example, the architect in Matrix. Do you remember that one? That he was so intelligent that a lot of people had to pause it for 20 minutes because they couldn't understand whatever he was saying. And after all that he talked, it makes no point. So what was this all that, like this Soros kind of bullshit that he spews? And this will be the same. So
but
instead of
I would
that,
have liked that. I would have liked if she spoke intelligently and with
oh,
a
but
high
perhaps it will
vocabulary.
be. This is the same as I always say, the Big Bang Theory. They actually try to. This is funny because they actually try to portray like geeks some place, and when they start talking about video games, they have no idea, and I mean no idea. They don't understand video games at all. So when you know a little bit about video games, you'll be like, no, that doesn't happen. No, that doesn't happen. No, that doesn't happen. So this
Right.
is the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
If she actually talk like a
That's a good
really intelligent
corollary.
person, they will be like, "Oh no, that isn't right. No, that isn't right either. No, she's just talking about bullshit, And this is the same. I prefer to actually be like, "Oh yes, we talk like this, and who cares?" I'm like, "Okay, she's intelligent. She has power. She can destroy the universe with one finger. Okay, that's it. I don't care." Perhaps in some other episode they will play like
And
she only
so-
appeared for 5 minutes. So perhaps in the next
And-
episode, she will be like, "Oh, it's an entire episode of this character." I'll be like, "Oh, nice. Let's see how they explain it." If they
Right.
actually go the way of this is a moron character that actually talks like that because she's an idiot, I'll
Yes,
be like,
I think
"Eh."
that's the main issue with this episode, because they have so many elements that they shove into it without explaining much of any of it.
Yeah,
But I
it's like,
still like it. Anyway,
I like it too, because-
Dalek451 says this is the part of the episode that is something out of old Trek. I liked it, but I definitely see the points that are being made here. And
I mean, it's okay,
that's
but
how
once again, I'm gonna be
Ethan
completely
does-
honest. Pop culture. Sorry, this only is last thing, and I will shut up. You can have your opinion, and it's okay. If you don't like it, it's shit to you. Perfect, that's okay. But I don't mind. I liked it. That's it. And your opinion is yours. Mine's mine.
Okay, so Mark D with the C says, for the male gaze, that's why that line was so confusing. And a Hungry Boy says, also the Gen Y fascination with 1970s.
Yeah.
And Captain Cockney Spock says, I like a stream with some fire. And Hungry But Not Like a Hippo says, spicy, Jill streams so far at Captain Cockney Spock. Cayenne.
You can say Cheyenne.
Cayenne. I say it as Cayenne. Cheyenne? Okay.
Cheyenne?
Okay. Doc Valiant, if we are in a simulation, then we got a good chance to live forever, says Doc Valiant. And Dalek Smith is on stage. Yes, he is here. Dr. Dalek Smith?
Oh, yes. I imagine that at some point you'll be like, "Do you remember that show? What show? That show, that one that had a monkey?" And you'll be like, "What monkey?" And it will be like 20 years later. You're like, "Oh yes, that show." I just imagine to at some point, even if you're immortal, like your brain start to lose everything around it, and that's what I love because in Sabrina the Teenage Witch they actually talk about it. They be like,
Okay.
"Yes, we
So,
kind of
so one
forgot
of
some
the
of the
things
things."
I do appreciate your comments, but it seems like you're addressing the chat without reading the chat first, and I like to read what the chat says so that
Oh, sorry.
because some people like to listen in podcast form
Sorry.
so that it what you're saying only makes sense if you read Doc Valiant's comment first. Can you imagine things that you'll forget about if you're 250,000 years old and then everything you say makes sense? So
Sorry, I'm just used to actually being the one that actually speaks. So
Mhm.
sorry.
No, that's
I'm kind of
okay. I just do things a little different because just in case someone's only listening, I want people to know what they're hearing
Yeah,
and
that's usually me most of the time. Most of the time, I'm driving and listening.
Yeah. Yes, right, exactly. Some people listen while they're driving, and I want them to be able to understand. But you're absolutely right. If you're that old, you will forget what you forgot to say in a very simple form. But I do appreciate you being here, Zanzoltan.
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 Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No problem. A lot of people
Okay.
confuse it. Some people call me Sansoso.
It sounds like a magician, the great Zanzoltan.
Yeah, actually, it was a name that a friend of mine had, and I was like, he put some name that sounds like it, but not the same, and I put Sultan. And then 1 year after, Dude, Where's My Car actually came out, and everybody was doing the Sultan, that thing, and I was like, ah, damn it, I have to change this name. So I added the San Sultan. Done.
Very cool. And so Hungry Boy says only a Jill stream could make me stay up till sunrise. Congrats. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm keeping you up so late, but
Glad
it
you're
is
still with us, Hungry.
we're almost done here. I have to go either way. And you don't get enough popcorn, Captain Cockney Spock. And it's like convention parties at 4 a.m. from back in the 90s. Yeah, basically. More snacks, says Captain Cockney Spock. British food. And Tiger Stripe says, I'd love to join here, but I haven't seen the episode yet. Oh, okay. And Hungry Boy says, you haven't missed much. Actually, it's pretty mixed. So we'll look at the poll here soon. I know.
Right, everybody remember to vote in the poll. And leave a like if you like the stream and subscribe to Anti-Derivative Jill's channel.
Yes, thank you.
And click the notification button for our next stream.
And I've got to go so soon that I probably won't be going through everybody's channels like I normally do. So I'll be putting them in the description below.
We'll let you take over from here, Jill. Go ahead and finish up.
And Resolute Germ says, Mercer was trying to be profound, but he's not cut out for it. And Gorilla says, I'm excited now. My best friend I haven't seen in 2 years is coming over for the night. That's awesome. And I have to listen because I'm at work. And that's why you get the occasional trolling chat from me. That's awesome. Okay, that's great. That's good.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why I like to read out the chat before I respond to the chat. That way people can just listen. Okay, so I'd ask you what you think about what you think about this episode, but I think I know that already. So we can move on.
Yeah.
So
what you can ask is what grade we would give it, A, B, C, or D.
Oh yes. Let's move on to the part where we do the poll. So go ahead and give me your a quick synopsis of how you feel about the episode and why you've given it the grade that you do.
Who are you addressing first?
Pop culture.
I just don't like the messaging they put in, the sexist, feminist messaging. I don't think it's necessary. It's very tired, especially in this day and age. It seems to be throughout Hollywood. So I gave it a D. That's all I'll say.
And also, okay, Dalek, go ahead.
And that's all you have to say about it.
Oh, nice.
Dalek, what would you grade this episode?
Not very highly, if I'm honest, because because this episode had me it had me cringing for like the first 15 minutes, and then for the rest of it, it had me either annoyed or confused or creep or at that moment creeped out. This episode was a mess. It was all over the place. It was really hard to follow. So if I had to give it a specific grade, I'd probably give it at least a C.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fair enough. And what about you, Zanzoltan?
Yeah, I'll give it a solid B because I found it interesting into some points. I will have like a little bit more about this character to actually show because it has her points, about how the world actually works to her, more to the world, like the universe. And up to this point, I still think the same. That it's like a sentient being that actually can be anywhere that she wants. So she's just like they say, like you're poking the worm just to see how it reacts. Yeah, she could have just been going like, yeah, why? Because I want it. Because if I wanted, I could kill you right now, and you will not even know it. If you're like that is completely wrong. Who cares? You cannot sub me. This character could go from good person to completely neutral to completely villain in just 2 words because when she was asking like what you were just playing with us, she could have been going like, yeah, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna kill you. You're not gonna be able to kill me. That's it. You're nothing to me. And that could have been gone like a villain instead of going like into a neutral place that is like saying, oh yes, but because I wanted knowledge. Why? I will not tell you. You don't need to know it, and I don't want to say it. And it will go the same way. So, like I said, this is a character that we need to actually see what is going to happen. So I'm hoping for
So
this episode.
even if you do like this episode, you agree that there are many things that are unsaid that need to be clarified. I definitely agree with you there. And I appreciate everyone in the chat, and thank you so much for coming. And Captain Cogney Spock says this weekend is the 40 years since Blade Runner, and the Deckard question is unsolved.
All the big movies came out. This is the anniversary of The Thing, E.T., a whole bunch of stuff this summer. It's fascinating year.
And Hungry Boy says Bradbury weeps. So hopefully Bradbury stream will
I rescheduled it for. I rescheduled my Bradbury stream for about 38 minutes from now. If anybody wants to join me.
Yes,
there.
I'm about to end the stream now, and I just want to thank everybody.
Time.
Yes, thank you so much. That's thank you everyone in the chat who's been here. Raymond Feliciano was here, Hungry Boy, and Resolute Germ, Arabic Sander, and more Hungry Boy, Pop Culture. Thank you so much for being on my panel. Pop Culture and Resolute Germ was in the chat, and let's see who else is
My
here.
pleasure.
Captain Cockney Spock, thank you for being here in the chat, and Snortapoopus Cuber, you're always wonderful and welcome.
Thank you everybody in the chat. You guys are great today.
And
I know it was an interesting little discussion today, so thank you everybody.
It was very exciting. Yes,
definitely not boring.
And then we have.
Please check out Clobber in Time's channel, everybody, and check out the last review when they reviewed this very episode a few days ago.
Yes. I'll put a link to that in the chat later.
Right, I'm not the only one with these opinions, guys.
Later, I'll do that. And thank you for being here, Orville Nation, and LDG, and also Doc Valiant. Thank you for being here as well, and for voting in our poll. And Mark D with the C is always. I think you and I agree with this episode, enjoying it but questioning it. I think we're pretty similar on that one. And I apologize. Being up, Hungry Boy's been up for 21 hours. He's got to sleep.
No, nothing. No, nothing to
Okay.
apologize. Nothing to apologize. Thank you for sticking with it for us. So,
And
I'll
and
keep in touch with you on Twitter.
and with 22 votes, I will end the poll. And so our official scoring today is the A score still went out. People do love this episode. I agree with that.
Great.
36%. And B to B plus is second place at 31%. Then we get C to C plus 18%, and D or below at 13%, which means that more than one person voted for D or below. So there are a lot of people who feel mixed on this episode, and that is great. It gives us something to talk about at least. And I had a great time talking with you guys about this episode, and we'll see what happens next week. I've got the show for the next one lined up, the preview rather, and so I'll take us out with that. But first, before we do that, is there anything you'd like to plug for your channel or anything, or whatever you do?
No, I just, if you think, I just find it funny because when they say like, this is taking too long, EFAP kind of, I made one stream that lasted for 12 hours because I was talking with some people who were like, yes, we can talk about food, we can talk about this, and this happens a lot in my channel. So my channel mostly is about that. I just put like a normal, it's called thinking outside the box because like I do here, I start talking about one thing that connects to another and I just keep on talking.
Yeah,
So,
you are able to keep on talking. That is definitely true.
I'm just sorry. Like I always say, just shut me up because I don't know when to shut up.
But
just
I don't
keep on
know
going.
how to do that. But I try.
You'll learn. You'll learn.
Okay.
I mean, once again, I want to thank Pop Culture Curator and Alec for being here, and also you, Jill, for letting me in.
You're
and
welcome.
If you keep on doing this kind of streams and I'm allowed to come in again, I will come in again. I have no problem. But and that's the thing. Then if you're probably gonna pop culture, you say like you're getting like here, but here and that. If I hate something, you'll learn about it because I hate it with all my soul sometimes.
You
And
definitely do bring some interesting perspectives.
I don't remember saying that I hate it, but oh well. Okay.
no. I
you
mean,
didn't say
what I
that.
mean when it's like if I dislike or hate or whatever, you'll learn. Because I never I try to keep it sincere.
Okay,
And,
great. That's great.
And
That's what we like here is sincerity.
Yeah,
exactly.
And as I said again, I just want to thank everyone in the chat too because I've seen some of the faces that I've seen every and again, like Marty with the C and DJ Rooney. I know them. I've seen their streams and everything, and you too, Shield. So this is the first time I actually can come live because I don't know what time is it for you there. Because
it's almost 4 p.m.
Yes, here is 6
Central
p.m. So
time.
yeah, I thought for a moment that it was like I don't know, like 10 a.m. or something like that because a lot of the people
started at 12.
Oh,
p.m.
Well, yes.
rather, not a.m.
Yeah. And yes, and kind of like my shows, it's like every time that I start talking, like I show you here, I keep on talking until somebody stops me. So once again, thank you, and I'll be seeing you, whoever that I see anywhere around. I'm always around.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Cool. Take care.
Thank
It's a pleasure.
Yes, and we'll be starting your Ray Bradbury stream shortly, right? Is there anything else you'd like to plug?
Yeah, I'll be doing the Ray Bradbury stream in a little over 30 minutes. If anybody is into Ray Bradbury, it's the Ray Bradbury Theater. And I have a few other videos that I post on my channel as well if you'd like to check them out. Thank you, Jill, for having me
You're
here.
welcome.
I appreciate it.
And thank you so much for coming back to the stream. And Dalek, is there anything you'd like to plug? Your channel or Twitter or anything?
I think. Well, I already did. I already did all that earlier, didn't I?
Yeah, that's true. But but it's the end of the show, so you get to do it again. That's the benefit of leaving the stream and coming back.
Well, you can. Well, if anyone in the chat would go to subscribe to my channel, same name as here, Dalek451. I would very much appreciate that. Or you can find me on Twitter, or if you want, I I have a server on Discord. If you're on Discord, you could ask me for an invite to that.
Okay, great. Thank you. So
Yeah, I want to say personally hello and thank you to everybody in the chat. It's great to have you guys here. Everything without us, we would be nothing.
okay.
Seriously.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you to everybody in the chat. And thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, or at least enjoyed the review, if not the episode. But remember, what is even better than my reviews is to watch the show yourself, and so that you can form your own opinions about it, whether you like it or not. So I will talk to you guys next time. Thank you all for being here, and have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
This is a good day.
It is a good day.
Krill